to businesses for their working capital, equipment, and real estate needs. This is very important in today's world. Fred Voss is the Senior Managing Director of Bridge Bank's commercial lending efforts in Northern California. He has commercial banking teams in San Jose with Jesse Garcia, San Francisco, Oakland, Cheadle, Cordova, and in Pleasanton. Bridge Bank, it's like banking at home. I can't say enough about it.
Seam heads, our Giants game day coverage begins now.
It's the mosaic.
So before gloves start popping,
diving, he makes the catch,
and bats start cracking,
it is gone.
We bring you the voice of Bay Area baseball for the past 29 years.
As I always say, baseball reflects what life is all about.
This is Talkin' Baseball with Marty Lurie.
That's what we do. We talk ball.
On KNBR, the sports leader.
Evans 0 for 3 has not liked the strike zone today. The 1-1. He drives one deep left field at the wall. Gone! Matt Chapman wins it. A 2-run walk-off home run. And everybody out of the dugout waiting for Chapman. He gets to home plate and he gets mobbed by the Giants.
Great call by Dave Fleming. Absolutely a great call by Dave. That one almost got Dave's car in the parking lot behind the left field pavilion there. Giants, amazing game yesterday, and it's been an amazing homestand, and this amazing season continues on. As we get to June 8th, and this ball club is very, very much in the middle of everything and looking much better than a lot of the teams that are in there with them. And yesterday was the microcosm of the season. Great pitching. Logan Webb goes out there, and he goes, 6 innings for him. He threw 100 pitches, 6 hits, a couple of runs given up, no walks, and 10 strikeouts. He's striking out at 1 million. He's over 100 now, I think, in strikeouts. And he pitches a great game, and the bullpen comes in and just does their job of shutting everything down, which is what they do. And Bryce Elder was terrific for Atlanta. He really was. And he was sort of like a Greg Maddux type, and working the count, working the corners and all that stuff, change-ups. And he really had the Giants on their heels. They had gone down 15, 16 in a row in the middle of the game. And then they get to the 9th inning, and, of course, the Braves are really struggling. They are really struggling. What have they lost? I think 6 in a row now. They are just really falling apart. This is not your favorite Atlanta Braves team, let me tell you that. They're not playing great ball right now. And the Giant bullpen does another good job of, Jelly comes in, Rogers comes in, no problem, and just shuts everything down. And they get the job done. And then Ramos. And I've liked this guy for a couple of years. I told you this a couple of years ago, that bat speed is there. And he's going to be an all-star again, I think. And it's a good question how many Giants could be an all-star. But Ramos probably deserves it. He really does. And we'll see what goes on this month and a little bit into July. But he gets a big hit. Pierce Johnson lives with the curveball. He does. And Friday night he lived with the curveball and bounced it. And I've seen games like this before. God, so many pennants have been decided on curveballs that hit the dirt and went wildly and runs scored. And Tyler Fitzgerald scored on Pierce Johnson's curveball that hit the dirt on Friday night, and the Giants win that one. And after it looked like Matt Olson, who's just made for this park, tied it up off of Ryan Walker, and there was 4-4, and then the Giants, of course, go ahead and make it happen and win it 5-4. And then yesterday, they're down to the basically last strike, and Pierce Johnson is a curveball pitcher, and I'm saying to myself, well, we all know Chapman doesn't like that high fastball. He'll look at it, or that's sometimes that slider will freeze him on the outside corner. But he got a curveball, and Johnson, that is his pitch. That is Pierce Johnson's pitch. We've seen him before. Chapman just didn't miss it. and knocked it out. And this magical season continues. And the Giants are right in the middle of it. So with all that said and done, they come back on this Sunday. And Spencer Strider, a fabulous pitcher of a couple of years ago, Tommy John surgery, is only 26. He's now back. And, you know, we saw this with Robbie Ray last year. It takes time to get your competitive juices back to where they should be and with your command. And Spencer Strider is 0-4 this year with a .568 earned run average. That whip is 137. Just the small sample size, 19 innings, 18 hits, 12 runs. Come on, this is Spencer Strider we're talking about. 5 homers given up, 8 walks, and 19 strikeouts. So we'll see what happens here. First time through, 324, get him loose. Then he settles down into a 167 and 333 after that. So he's not right yet. And he goes against Landon Roop today. And Landon Roop has pitched great ball for the Giants. And he can give you those 6 innings, 7 innings. He's got the curveball. He's got the changeup. He's got the cutter. And he's got to be a pitcher out there. And the Giants will go with him as far as he can go today. But he's been pitching great ball for them. And he's been in 12 games, 62 innings, pitched in 12 games, 64 hits. 30 runs, 22 earned, so they've given up some bad fielding behind them, but only 6 homers and 22 walks, 61 strikeouts. And this 26-year-old, same age as Spencer Strider, is pitching nice ball for the Giants. 36 game and 17th start for him. So a lot to talk about today on the show. We'll take a break. Mark Simon of Sports Info Solutions is coming up. We've got our contest going today. You guess the score of the game. Tweet it into @BaseballMarty, or you can call Raf at 808 KNBR. And guess the score of the game. You can win dinner for 2 at Original Joe's in Westlake, North Beach, or West Portal. Or we're going to have 2 winners. You can win dinner for the new restaurant opening up in Walnut Creek, which is going to be magnificent. And then Raf randomly picks out a winner for dinner at Soto Mare in North Beach with Rich and Laura Azolino. So we like to do that. So it's a lot of fun. We got millions of guests coming up, and we get a lot of guesses on this show as well for our contest. But Mark Simon is first. I know he's got a lot of things to do today, so we want to get him on. So we'll take a break, come back. Mark Simon, Sports Info Solutions. Giants go for the sweep, 4-2 on the homestand, and every one of them an exciting game. All right, more coming up right after this.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Everyone likes a party, but everyone loves a party at Original Joe's. With 3 private dining rooms, it's the perfect spot to hold your next big event. From christenings to corporate gatherings, we'll make your next party San Francisco special. Original Joe's, see you at the counter.
Mark Simon
Mark, I love you, man.
All right, nice to have you with us on our stream this morning as we get ready for Giants baseball. That introduction means that Mark Simon is with us of Sports Info Solutions and the National League East leading New York Mets, his favorite team. Mark, how are you?
I'm good. What a nice song to wake up to in the morning for all the Californians.
Really? Well, you did text me yesterday after the Chapman home run, and you said, whoa. And I think I'm going to just ask you what you meant by that.
I was really surprised. I was not expecting him to hit a home run in that spot, but that's the beauty of the sport, right? You weren't expecting the wild pitch in the bottom of the ninth or 10th the day before. You might not have been expecting what happened against the Padres the last two games, even the way the offense is going. There's all these different things that are, I guess, somewhat unexpected. And it's like if you looked at the Giants last 20 and you looked at the Braves last 20, you would not necessarily think that the Giants were 11-9, averaging less than 3 runs a game, and that the Braves are whatever they are, where they're basically in every game and they find a way to lose it late. I guess it's the two teams. You kind of look at it. It's one kind of season for one, and it's a completely other kind of season for another that has just turned disastrous. I'm referring to the Braves, of course.
Yeah, I looked at the Braves' numbers offensively, very similar to the Giants, just a tick above, let's say. And they've got all the big names, and they're just not producing right now. And for the Giants, a very similar situation, but they produce when they have to, and they've got that bullpen. And that's the difference for me, the starting pitching and the bullpen, because the Braves' bullpen has fallen apart. And Iglesias, who you know him, he's not even the closer anymore. So the Brave team we're seeing now is not the Brave team that you've seen that's fought the Mets for the last few years.
No, definitely not. And I think that's somewhat epitomized by the guy that you're going to see today, who hasn't pitched particularly well since he's come back from injury. Spencer Strider, 4 starts. Average fastball velo is down 2 miles an hour from what it was when he was good. You go back a few years ago, the fastball got a lot of swings and misses. Now it's not getting those swings and misses. He's not what he was, and that kind of epitomizes what you would say about the Braves.
Yeah, do you chalk that up to Tommy John? And look, we saw with Robbie Ray to some extent last year and this year. You're looking at Robbie Ray, could be Cy Young and start the All-Star game.
Yeah, it seems to be. That would make the most sense. I feel like that's one anecdotal example. I feel like if we thought about it, we would have probably 5 or 6 others that fit that description.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me. It's when you first come back from it, you're just not the same pitcher. But look, on the Giants side, Landon Roop is each game seems to be getting better. He's not just a curveball pitcher anymore, and he's another one that's done a nice job for the Giants.
Yeah, he's not just a curveball pitcher anymore, and he's one of these guys that is able to get left-handed hitters out at a very high rate, which a lot of right-handed pitchers don't necessarily do. And he's got these reverse splits, is what you would call it. There aren't a lot of guys that do that. Bryce Elder, who pitched yesterday, is another example of that, actually. Similar kind of thing, where he gets the lefties out better than he gets the righties out. But yeah, it's funny though, more than a curveball pitcher, but my favorite thing about today is this. If you take Albies, Olson, Ozuna, Murphy, and Allen, and I don't know if they're all starting today, but those guys combined against curveballs from right-handed pitchers this season, 2 for 68.
Wow. All right. That's a good one.
None of them can hit it.
That's a good one. No, look, no one throws a curveball. And, the fact that, right. It's like the knuckleball. All of a sudden you see a knuckleball, you don't know what to do with it. And the curveball is the same thing. We used to see curveball pitchers all the time, and we think of the great Camilo Pascual and some of the other ones. But now it's very rare that you see it. The umpires don't know how to call it, and you have all that going on. So, yeah, boy, that's a good stat. That is a good stat. This Dominic Smith, at first base. He's led to a couple of victories for the Giants, and I said this yesterday. You don't play 7 years in New York and not know how to spell sacrifice fly. And you better know how to play baseball, or else they'll boo you out of there in about 10 seconds. And Dominic Smith brings that kind of baseball to the Giants.
Yeah, he's a weird one because he got off to a very slow start in his career, and then the pandemic year and the year before that, like a switch flipped for him where he was a really, really good hitter, and you thought he was going to be the kind of guy that was going to be able to hit 320 with 15 home runs. And he showed that in particular, as I said, 2020. And then after the pandemic year, it wasn't the same. And then he went to Washington, and it just wasn't the same. He's not a power hitter, but he can hit for average. We have seen it. Maybe he can unlock that while he's in San Francisco and take advantage of the size of the park a little bit. He is a good glove. He's probably at his best. He's probably a little better than Lamont Wade. The Lamont Wade was pretty good. He can make the impressive play in the field. I don't know that this is more than a shot in the arm for 20, 30 games. I'm sure Buster is hoping that it's something that they can live with for the rest of the season. I would say cautious optimism is what to have with him at this point.
Yeah, to me, he's a great guy off the bench. And I'm going to go way back. He reminds me of Willie Montañez a little bit when he came to the Giants, when Dan Driesen came to the Giants at the end of his career. And he knows how to play baseball. And all these moves, to me, really were more bench moves to rebuild the bench a little bit, to give Bob Melvin some more flexibility. But Dom Smith, you can bring him off the bench, and he knows how to play baseball, and that's what I like about him.
Yep. By the way, Willie Montañez, Dan Driesen, I feel like I'm opening packs of 1980s baseball cards right when I was 7, 8 years old.
Come on, I loved it. Dan Driesen, when he got here, he was a star for the Reds, and I think he just had a short time with the Giants. But he came off the bench and he knew what to do, and that's what I like about him. All right, so from here. It's been a great homestand. I think they're 4-2 and 4 wins in a row, and every game is tight. And the bullpen, the whole little Giants story is being played out this week completely. But now it's Colorado next week in Colorado. They're actually playing better baseball. As I said on the show yesterday, they're not getting beat 20-2 anymore. They're very competitive games. And the Giants have to go there, and then they go to the Dodgers, who are a complete mess right now. So this could be an interesting week.
Yeah, Colorado, I think it's funny that you're like, oh, they're playing better. They're not losing 20-2 anymore, and that's like a compliment. The Rockies have like two things that are going right for them right now. Like Jordan Beck, left fielder, younger guy, second-year guy, has hit pretty well for them, but Brenton Doyle hasn't. Ezekiel Tovar is out. He's on the injured list now. Their other guys weren't hitting for them. Tolio wasn't hitting for them. And pitching-wise, it's a rough watch pretty much all the way around, whether it's Freeland or Senzatella or Herman Marquez or whoever. They have one guy out of the bullpen that's really good, Jake Bird, pitched against the Mets 2 days ago. Loaded the bases. The bases were loaded, nobody out, and he struck out the side. It was really impressive. He throws a nasty slider. But there isn't a lot to fear with them. Dodgers just have a lot of injured pitching. And what the Mets learned from playing the Dodgers, though, is that even though the Dodgers have all these injuries, there's not enough runs that you can score against them because they can come and get you late in the game, as they did twice against the Mets. So even though they're struggling with the Cardinals, I don't think the Dodgers are suddenly going to fall apart.
No, they're not, but they're still a work in progress with that bullpen. They're picking people up right and left and letting them go, and that starting pitching is still banged up, but they're still right up there. Did the Mets win last night? I didn't even see the score this morning.
They did.
Did the Mets?
Yeah, they won comfortably.
Okay, because I'm going to tell you one last thought for you. Rocky scores, and not excluding last week. 4-2, 3-2, 3-2, 6-4, 5-3, 5-2, 4-2, 2-1, 4-3, 3-1. How about that?
They play close games. They just don't win them.
They're playing better. Yeah, you can't. They just can't hit. They have no hitting whatsoever. Is the
One
problem?
step at a time.
So that's what we got there. Any comments on San Diego from what you saw this week?
I think they're better than the Giants, but probably the gap is narrower than maybe I might have thought it was initially. That would be my primary thought at this point. I still think they have a pretty good team, and it would be a pretty significant disappointment, I would imagine, for them if they didn't make the postseason.
Yeah, not quite as strong as I thought. The bullpen, this Adam, I think the Giants can hit him. I think the league can hit him. They'll catch up to him. Starting pitching, they've got some names that we don't know, and they're in there now. They're hitting. They're vulnerable to lefties. They've got some injuries, so it's an interesting race. It's an interesting race, and there's so much more to catch up with, and which we'll do with you next week. So enjoy your Sunday and have a good day. And who's pitching for the Mets today? Who do you have today?
Tyler Miguel.
All right. We'll see what the Rockies can do today against the vaunted New York Mets with Pete Alonso. All right, Mark, have a good Sunday, and we'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you later. Yep.
All right, goodbye. That is Mark Simon of Sports Info Solutions. Yeah, I'm telling you, with the Rockies, they don't hit a lot. They really don't. But they're playing at home, and the Giants have to take them seriously. They really do. And the Giants, let's see, Roop is going to go today. So we'll have Harrison, Ray, and Birdsong against the Rockies there. Harrison escaped injury. He got hit on the elbow. That comebacker, he went off his elbow, contusion, so I assume he's going to be okay to pitch in his next game. But what a week of Giants baseball. As I said, for the Giants this week, they've won 4 in a row. Every game is exciting. The Webb game against San Diego, they lose 1-0 in 10 innings. How about that one when they couldn't get the runner home? They lost 3-2. They're up 2-0 in the ninth. They end up losing the game 3-2 on Tuesday night. And Manny hit that slider. Boy, Manny is good. He really is. Manny Machado, he's a Hall of Famer. There's no doubt about it. And he got the big hit there. Then the Giants are down 5-0, and this is where the whole week turned around in San Diego. Down 5-0, and it was 5-1. And Woad sent me a text. It's 5-3 now. And as soon as he sent me that text, I said, okay, they're back. And this is what they do. And Bruce Jenkins and I will talk about that. There's something unique about this team and the way they play and the comebacks and everything else. It's something special going on. Fans love it. They're coming out. They're packing the place. And even though there's some guys slumping and all this kind of stuff, they get it done. They pick each other up. And that's a sign of a good baseball club. They pick each other up. And they're right in the middle of everything. And I think there's good things ahead. When you pitch and catch the ball, you're ahead of the game. All right, we'll take a break. Bruce Jenkins of the Chronicle coming up next.
Talking baseball with Marty Lurie on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Fans, it's great to have Rick Robin back with us. Rick Robin Construction, Napa.com. Rick, it's great to have you with us. Last year, a major honor for you. You're the Napa Contractor of the Year. How about that?
Yeah, so it wasn't any advertising or anything. The customers voted, and I finished number 1.
I love it. Napa Valley Contractor of the Year. Rick, the things you specialize in, it's things that people need, and you take it from beginning to end. Let's go through the list.
We specialize in kitchens and baths. That's our main source. We do whole home remodels, brand new homes. We do ADUs. We do all your construction needs. Anything you need, just give us a call.
And the phone number is 707-332-7575. And, of course, on the web, it's Rick Robin, ROBBEN, ConstructionNapa.com. Rick, great to have you back with us. I look forward to a great season with you.
Oh, it's going to be great. Give us a call and talk to Tammy. If you like our quote, we'll take you down to our showroom. We'll pick out all your material and look forward to work with everybody.
Fans, the things I love about Rick, he does all the work. That's for me. Fans, I heard from Gene Bagato up in Bodega Bay, and he said his entire staff is geared up and ready to welcome summer travelers looking to escape the heat, and you know what I'm talking about. Down at the wharf, a varied menu offering everything from juicy hamburgers to the highest quality seafood. All those dishes await you. Hungry for a great meal? Check it out. For people looking to enjoy the relaxing Sonoma coast, the gift shop and fish market has everything one needs for a visit to the beach, from towels and swimwear to picnic items and beverages. It reminds me of growing up in Miami Beach. That's what it was like. And if you're looking to stay a while, the fabulous Inn at the Tides, with its spacious rooms and stunning views, awaits with its heated swimming pool and hot tub spa, as well as the Bayview dining room featuring the great creations of Chef Remy Madrid. So if you're interested in a fantastic getaway not far from the Bay Area, you don't have to look any further than the Tides Wharf and the Inn at the Tides in scenic Bodega Bay.
Look through the window of the original Joe's on North Beach and you'll see two guys at the counter talking ball. Time for you to listen in to their conversation. Marty Lurie and the SF Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins are looking through the window of baseball. Sponsored by Original Joe's of North Beach and Westlake on KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
All right, great to have you back with us on this Sunday as the Giants go to sweep the Atlanta Braves and continue this homestand, 4-2 on the homestand right now in a 4-game winning streak. And we bring in the Chronicles' Bruce Jenkins. Bruce, good morning. How are you?
Doing well, Marty. How's it going?
Good. Well, you know, it's one of these homestands that every single game, it feels like a playoff game. You know, they're tight and swings back and forth and heroes and new players and bullpens. It's been quite a week of baseball.
Yeah, those are the best games, too. I mean, I grew up, you know, in Southern California following the Dodgers, who play games like that routinely, and they tended to get into the World Series a lot, you know, with great pitching and defense and just tension, you know, constant tension, excuse me. And it's just one of these games after another. It's so great for the crowd. The crowds have been great, and they've been winning these one-run games more often than not. And they're a game out of first with the Dodger Stadium coming up next weekend. Oh, my goodness.
Come on. Really?
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Come on. The fans are coming out, and they play a ton of one-run games more than anybody, along with the Braves. They're also in that mix as well. But for the Giants yesterday, I mean, you know, I've watched baseball for a long time, and, you know, you look for certain games during a season. I've said this before, that you'd say, boy, something unusual is happening here. And to get down to that last strike, and first of all, Ramos with a huge hit to get the inning going. And I think he's been fabulous. I really do. And then to get to the last strike, and here's a dead fastball, trouble hitter. He's in trouble with a fastball, and he gets the curveball, and he doesn't miss it, Chapman, and he knocks it out.
Yeah, it's beautiful stuff. I love Ramos going straight up the middle. You know, he wasn't trying to be a hero there. And just that's the purest kind of single when you need it, just right up the middle. That's such pure hitting. And he's been great. But Chapman, what did Webb say? I think he's going to hit a home run every time up there. But that's just the spirit of the team. I mean, Chapman comes up, and you just feel good. There's so many things like that are happening. And the thing that I loved about it, I loved that Logan Webb referenced Greg Maddux after the game, because I was thinking in that one stretch where he struck out 8 guys in 3 innings, and it was just, it wasn't overpowering stuff at all. It was just the cutter and the slider and the changeup, the four-seamer, just working guys. And when he gets to 2 strikes, they would have no idea what's coming, and one after another just mowing them down. And Maddux was like that, and it's such a great thing for young pitchers to see, you know, at a time when velocity is king, and if you don't throw 102, you're out. Well, first of all, you're going to the hospital for Tommy John surgery. Then you'll be then you'll be out of baseball later than that. But you know, and you know, they're talking about Webb. They're talking about all-star picks now, and Webb's name comes up routinely among all these you know, roundtables that are coming forth. And it's so great that people are recognizing how great he really is, and anchoring a staff that is so deep and excellent right now.
Well, he's close to 100 innings, and he's over 100 strikeouts, if I'm not mistaken. I think he had 10 yesterday. I think it was at 91 going into the game. That's a good question. Look, Robbie Ray had, you know, he probably would start the game at this point, and you got Webb. Flores, you still have him in 47 RBIs. You know, he's still 49 RBIs. He's still in the top 10 of that. Then there's the one guy, and J.D. Dickinson was on. I was on with him yesterday, and I forgot about him. How do you overlook Randy Rodriguez if you're going to put an 8th inning guy on?
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, there's so many options there. I think they're all legit. I think Rodriguez is tough for him because he's not really a name right now. Everybody, I think, who's watching the league closely knows all about him. But, you know, just in general, for star power and such, there's so many other candidates. But, you know, for him to not get it ahead of an older hand like, you know, Hader or somebody like that, would be a little bit of a ripoff here, but that's all right. I think Webb should start the game myself. He's the guy right now.
Okay, well, we'll see. What do you think about Strider coming back from Tommy John? He was fabulous a couple of years ago. He's gotten knocked around a little bit, but that's typical of this injury until you get your stuff together. This is a good matchup today, Roop and Strider.
Yeah, well, he missed all of last year. He did have the Tommy John surgery. Then he comes back and gets a hamstring, and he missed nearly a month with that. And the Arizona tagged him for 5 runs Tuesday night, hit 3 balls out. So he's not all the way back by any stretch, but he is Spencer Strider, and it's just going to take one great start, and they're going to hope that he's back. And the Braves need a lot more than Spencer Strider coming back to be even respectable. I mean, before this series, I thought, they're gonna be okay, but then so many things happened right out of the bat. Friday night, 2 errors, wild pitch, walk, Giants up 3-0, and that game, ended horribly with the wild pitch, and they have a guy named Blewett. Everything is going wrong for them.
No, come on, they're up 10-4 on Arizona.
Yeah.
And they lose at 11-10, and it's funny about baseball. Well, and I'll talk about this when he comes on again. But here's Snitker, he's a world champion and wins divisions, comes in, saves the franchise, and Bobby Cox is out and he retires and all that goes on. And here's Brian Snitker, and he has one bad year, which this is turning into, and they want to get rid of him.
Yeah, that's just the way it goes. But in his case, you're right. He's been around forever. I mean, I think he's bought himself. He's not going to get fired in the middle of this season, I don't think. But they made too many mistakes. I mean, if you have Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson, those are foundational guys that they let get away. They missed Fried and Charlie Morton in the rotation. The only guy they picked up was Profar, who got a PED suspension. And they still have a lot of talent, Austin Riley and the boys, but I don't know. They no longer look like the Braves, and I don't think they get it back. They're so far out now. I don't think they can make a run this year.
No, they're in danger of going 20 out.
Yeah,
they're so far back, and the Mets are winning, so there's trouble there. The Phillies, I'd like to go around the league a little bit with you because the Phillies are a team. Harper's injured again. They've had trouble getting the offense going. Schwarber and Turner are about the best thing they have going. But they don't have a bullpen anymore. This Romano that they got from Toronto is terrible. And all of a sudden, the Phillies, a team that you say, well, they're guaranteed to get in, they're having trouble right now.
Well, yeah, the Mets look like they're up 3.5 on the Phillies right now. I'm sure that'll be a 2-team race, but they got to get Harper back. But yeah, you mentioned Romano. His photo's like a dartboard in the post office. I mean, he's been so bad.
Really?
Jose Alvarado gets suspended for failing a test, and you can't. You're only going to go so far. With a great guy like Wheeler anchor rotation, but. Unlike the Braves, when I look at the Phillies, I can see them pulling it together, with Schwarber and Castellanos and Harper comes back and Bohm, and it's a good club. But as we always say, I mean, if you're not pitching, you're not gonna make any kind of noise. And the Mets seem to have an awful lot of things going right now. Soto's rebounding with his numbers and just his whole look on the field, body language, and all that. So the Mets are definitely the team to beat right there.
It's interesting, and I'm going to come up with one of these observations. If you look at the Dodgers and San Diego, Arizona, the Phillies, Atlanta, St. Louis, Milwaukee, when they lose a game, it could be ugly. It could be the bullpen exploding. It could be starting pitching. It could be defense. Who knows? When they lose, they lose ugly games. Giants don't lose ugly games. Giants lose 3-2 or 4-3.
Yeah, they don't have ugly games. And when they do lose,
they don't.
Yeah, when they lose a one-run game, you can point to 1 or 2 pitchers who were great in that game.
Yeah.
And that's just invaluable. Pardon me.
Yeah.
And as we always say, it's such a key. I mean, to me, the Dodgers have looked vulnerable the entire season. They've got 14 pitchers on the IL right now. 14. Now Gonsolin's on there, but they've looked vulnerable. And I just thought, geez, if the Giants can just stay close. But one game out with a series against them coming up is just a dream.
Yeah, and they lose ugly. They do.
Very,
you know,
absolutely.
if I'm not mistaken, they're either at 500 or under 500 on the road right now.
Yeah.
And and San Diego, same thing. They'll kick the ball around. Their bullpen is not what it was earlier in the year. There's no question there. They've got a couple of starting pitchers. The guy Burgert is going today. Kolek pitched yesterday. Vasquez. I mean, you're talking about starting pitching that doesn't sound like, the 1960 Yankees here. You know what I mean?
Yesterday they lost.
And then Arizona. Look at Arizona. With all the pitching they've got, and look at how they lose games. So I'm very optimistic about the Giants. I really am. I just think they're playing good baseball. And other than Birdsong and Harrison, they're still two young pitchers, and they still, can have trouble 4 or 5 innings into the game. And that may be something to watch. But other than that, boy, this pitching staff, they just pick each other up all the time.
Yeah, it's really good. In the bullpen too. With Walker had some bad outings, and they've picked him up. I think he's going to be back. I think his stuff's going to play eventually if he can command it. Duvall, tremendous sliders striking out the side the other night. That was huge. Rogers, as you go through, just go down the line. Rodriguez, and they don't lose ugly. I mean, Arizona, they're talking about, are we going to sell all our free agents and just start over? I mean, the whole rotation is a shambles. Montgomery went on the TJ surgery, and Gallen and Rodriguez and Fott, they're all having bad years. And they had that they had a great win, but they needed to get 7 in the ninth to win it. I don't know how far you go with Eugenio Suarez, but ugliness. I mean, the Padres had a David Morgan out there in relief yesterday, and Caleb Durbin walked him off for the Brewers. Just weird stuff.
Yeah.
The Giants are not weird. They're not weird. They're Buster Posey and Bob Melvin, and they're not weird.
That's right, and I think it means something. I really do.
Yeah.
That's why Luis Ariz had the double in the ninth inning.
Yeah, that was huge.
To tie that game up, and then Morgan's in there, and Caleb Durbin hit his second home run of the season, and the Brewers end up winning. Going back to the Phillies have lost 8 of 9, Bruce, and after winning 12 of 13. That's what I'm getting at with this. The Giants are just more consistent the way they play.
Yeah, the mood in the crowd couldn't be more different. When things go negative in Philadelphia, the fans are going to be riding you especially hard, maybe harder than any other place, and sometimes it's hard to shake that negativity if it's just in the air and it's continuing. And here's another example. And just looking at these crowds at the Giants games, they're just having so much fun. The game is close. They got the family out there. The sun's out. McCovey Cove. It's a beautiful setting, and I just really they've got some really good things going right now. And all of this, to this point, they haven't hit. They're a team that doesn't hit, and yet look where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, one historical note that I want to get to today, Nolan Ryan on this date struck out 19 for the 4th time. And this is 1977, Bruce. He hadn't even hit his stride yet.
Well, he threw 4 no-hitters before that, so I think he had. But and he broke Sandy Koufax's strikeout record when he struck out 383. But, this is the guy – you talk about this is the greatest arm that's ever been given to a human being, and he did everything he possibly could with it. Dick Allen and Reggie Jackson used to say he would say, "I'm only going to throw you fastballs, okay? Only fastballs for you here. No big mystery," and they still couldn't hit him. Norm Cash went up to the plate with a piano leg one time, literally. he found it. He whittled down a piano leg and went up to the plate with it. Like, what am I going to do with a bat? He was monstrous talent. And that night against the one we're talking about, it was a Toronto team with Roy Howell and Otto Velez and Ron Fairley, and Dave McKay was in there. Not a great lineup, but still Ryan. I mean, he was 30 that night. But like you say, I mean, he pitched till he was 46. I mean, he had so much more to come. Unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. 19. Wow. All right. So much more to talk about, but we'll catch up next week. Judge is still hitting 390 in this Wilson for the A's, 370.
Wow.
I got to look. I don't know the answer to this. Someone will look it up while we're talking today. But what's the record for a rookie? The batting average, the highest batting average for a rookie? Because this guy Wilson for the A's hitting 370 right now.
Oh, so, man. Yeah.
Not bad.
Don't know the answer, but and he, you watch him. He looks the part. He never strikes out. He walks the light. He very deliberately goes the other way. There's no question that he's trying to do that. And just a really smart hitter, sort of out of nowhere, because people kind of tune out the A's and they're not really following him day to day. And a guy like this shows up, and it's just terrific. I mean, 370 is he hitting now?
370, yeah. Judge is 390. He's 370. All right. We'll catch up next week. Thanks, Bruce.
Okay, Marty. Thanks a million.
All right, be well. All right, the professor next right here on the Sports Leader. Hey, everybody. Marty Lurie here to talk to you about my good friends at Georgie Brothers, the largest family-owned furniture store in the entire Bay Area. I can't say enough about Georgie Brothers, loyal to me for so many years, always supported the show, and really, really have a great furniture store. Now, right now, and good through June 16th, you can save $500 on every wing-style chair in all the Paloma leather colors. Now, I own these stressless furniture, and I can tell you it's the most comfortable place to sit in my home. I have one, Evan's got one, Aaron's got one, Bonnie's got one. They're all over the family, and I'm telling you, you feel good when you sit in these chairs. So this is a great sale. Visit them at GeorgieBrothers.com. That's GIORGIBROS.com. Or even better, visit their 50,000 square foot showroom in South San Francisco, and also take a look at that baseball memorabilia. Remember, tell them that Marty sent you. Fans for great baseball gear, check out Baseballism. The store is located at 3rd and King opposite the ballpark. Whether it's jackets, shirts, hats, you name it, Baseballism is the most unique store I've seen. It is the best. 3rd and King, right opposite the ballpark.
Time now to go to Sunday school with the professor.
Professor, take it easy, will you?
Giants coach Ron Wotus with Marty Lurie.
Oh, I didn't know you wanted to get involved with the discussion, Mr. Helper.
On your home of Giants baseball.
Good answer. Like the way you think.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Brought to you by River Islands, one of the country's top-selling master plan communities just across the Altamont in Lathrop. Where else can you live on a lake next door to a park or walking distance to your kid's new school? With 10 new neighborhoods, River Islands is the one place you can't afford to miss.
All right, the professor joins us. Whoa, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Marty. I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Yeah, pretty good. Getting ready for what should be another interesting game today. What a week of baseball. My goodness. Every game goes back and forth. They're never out of it, and Chapman certainly lived that out yesterday.
Well, it's nice to see, the team break out of the 4-run per game 2-week stretch that they had. And, they're back to winning games, starting with the Padres, the third and fourth game of those series, finding ways to win. And this is the way this club has played the first month of the season. This is why they're going to have to play. They're going to play close games, and they're going to have to find ways to win, which they're certainly doing again.
Well, Dominic Smith, I've made a big deal about him this morning. He's got sacrifice flies. He knows his way around the bag. He knows his way around a baseball field. And I always say you play 7 years in New York, you better learn how to play baseball or else they'll run you out of town. I like what I see with Dominic Smith.
Yeah, he's given the club a little bit of a jump start along with the other guys. And, they all three showed up, and the team has gone on this 4-game streak. But to your point, we've seen him in New York, and as you said, he has to have thick skin to play in New York. So should be an easy adjustment. But the thing that I like about him is he's got an adjustable bat. It looks like he uses his hands very, very well. Knows how to situational hit. He had a couple of sac flies, got the ball up in the air, and you mentioned it. He's smooth around the base. He's fielding wise and picking the ball at first. He's solid. So a good addition for us.
Landon Roop today, another young pitcher, Birdsong young pitcher, Harrison young pitcher. It made me think back to, Lincecum, Bumgarner breaking in. How do you bring young guys along during a season? Because you got to get them ready for September. You can't overwork them, and you got to watch them all the time. How do you do that as a coach?
That's a great point. The season is longer in the major leagues, and there's a lot more stress involved, right? I mean, you're facing the best hitters in the world, and there's pressure every day to perform. So that does elevate, the stress level for a pitcher. And I think everybody's cognizant of their innings pitched. Hopefully your minor league development program, if you don't have a real need and rush a guy to a different level or rush a guy to the big leagues, hopefully they're getting the innings that they need to get. So when they get to the major leagues, they're much more prepared to handle the load. Now, he's on a roll, Roop, so he's pitching well. There may come a time when you skip a start or two throughout the season. You never know, but you're going to kind of take it start by start, see where he's at, see where his stuff is. But it definitely is a concern how these young pitchers will react if they stay healthy and don't miss any starts in the later part of the season.
Yeah, it's different. I mean, you got to go down the stretch. And look, I remember Lincecum, he had an awful August. Remember, he lost almost every game in August, and I forget who talked to him. Someone talked to him, and all of a sudden in September he pulled it together. There's a lot of that ahead here.
There is a lot of that ahead. And, some of it is just, the nature of the beast. You can't be, an all-star every time you take the mound. Even the veteran guys that have been through it numerous times, have their ups and downs. And sometimes you find a hot team or your location's not there. You don't have a good feel for your pitches. Maybe, your breaking ball's not what it normally is. So, it's just like a hitter. They're going to go through their ups and downs. But, recently Roop has been on a really nice run.
Yeah, he's been terrific. One thing about River Islands I know I wanted to mention today. Well, they're really developing a downtown. There's going to be a lot of things in that downtown. There's going to be a real town center there.
Yeah, it's really cool. And, go with the stuff they already have. I don't know if you realize this week, Marky, coming up, it's the area code games. The legendary coach, Don Johns, who consults and runs Islanders Fields. He's got the area code games coming in for the 5th straight year, the Major League Baseball area code games, which is the top talent in the area and every major league scout will be there, and college coaches will be there, where the kids get to showcase their talent. And I think it's a great thing just for baseball lovers to watch as well. So the downtown's going to be great, and they have so much more that we've always talked about to do at River Islands. But go out to Islanders Field and check that stuff out this week.
Yeah, after the season, we're going to go out there and do some of that stuff. I'm looking forward to doing that. That's going to be fun. All right, I got into something on Twitter yesterday, and I brought it up, and it's about Patrick Bailey. And I said, look, I don't care if the guy hits 150, 160. He changes a game. He changes the count from 2-1 to 1-2, from a walk to 3-1. It's incredible what he does with that pitch behind the plate. Now, he doesn't hit it all. He runs into one here and there. I say, I don't care. Treat him like a pitcher. Bat him ninth. Do whatever you want to do with him. I just think he makes such a difference behind the plate with the framing. You don't see it necessarily, but it changes the count all the time. How about that?
He's a better hitter than, we all believe he's a better hitter than we've seen so far this year, and he's proven that in the last couple of years. But to your point, his real value is what he does behind the plate, not only with the framing and getting those borderline pitches. He has the ability to throw certain base runners out that other catchers in the league can't, because his pop time could be, it's as quick as anybody in the league. Now, there's times we'd love to see him a little more consistent, but he shows up in those big moments with those, Trey Turners and those speed demons. And, probably the most important thing for a catcher, like you said, hit him ninth if you have to, and let him run the pitching staff. The pitchers love throwing to him. They're very comfortable with him. And that goes a long way. When a pitcher has confidence in the catcher, his game calling, and what he does, it's important. So, every manager I've been with, you usually earmark a pitcher or two that's going to throw to a particular catcher. And you never want to change the catcher. If a guy's having success, you want to keep the catcher in with that guy because they get comfortable with each other. And he certainly has that comfort with the whole pitching staff here, relievers obviously included.
Well, Rick Peterson said to me years ago, what's the most important pitch in baseball? And I said, strike one. He said, nope. It's the 1-1 pitch. It's either 1-2 or 2-1, and that changes the at bat. And I think he's got the ability to do that. So to be continued, let's put it that way. But I like what I see there. Well, Giants go to sweep the Braves, and it's off to the Rockies. So things are going well. It's a good time of year, isn't it, Well?
Yeah, it is. Look, they've come out of that little stretch. I mean, they came back 4-5, and we all thought they came back, 1-8, right? The feeling was. And here we go. They split with the Padres at home, which is, to me, the best team in the division. Better than the Dodgers, I should say. They have a little bit of everything. The Dodgers don't have the pitching. And Atlanta, they're going through it right now. They're really struggling. They're finding ways to lose the game. I feel bad for Snitker, who's had so much success over there and the coaching staff, but I won't feel bad today. Let's get them one more time and let those coaches I all know over there go back to Atlanta, and hopefully they can get it going because there's a lot of good people over there.
All right. Well, good to talk to you. We'll catch up with you next week. Have a good day.
Sounds good. Thanks, Marty.
All right. Pleasure having him on. Okay, Giants warm-up coming up right now.
Seam heads, start cracking those peanuts and spitting those seeds, because gloves are soon to be popping.
He makes a headlong dive and makes the catch.
And bats are going to get cracking.
Blast one! Deep right field! Gone!
Welcome to KNBR's Giants Warm-Up.
Way back there. Goodbye!
On the sports leader.
Welcome into the KNBR Warm-Up Show. My name is Bill Lasky, filling in for Kerry Crowley as we get you ready for the final game of a 7-game homestand where the Giants have just won 4 straight. the last two games against the Padres, and two exciting games against the Braves, where they had a wild pitch walk-off on Friday. And what a home run Matt Chapman hit last night with 2 outs, a 1-1 curveball by Pierce Johnson. Landed 365 feet in left field, and the Giants walk it off in the bottom of the 9th inning to a 3-2 victory, as they're now 37-28. They're one game behind the LA Dodgers. How about that? San Diego lost yesterday. They're equal with the San Francisco Giants. And after today's game, a 6-game road trip, 3 against the Colorado Rockies, in which at the same time, starting tomorrow, the Padres and the Dodgers go at it for 3 games. So that should be interesting to watch as the Giants entertain the Colorado Rockies in Colorado. Next weekend, the LA Dodgers are in LA. The Giants will be going to LA for that series. And the Padres will be playing the Diamondbacks that weekend. So a lot of interleague, National League West games coming up here this week, and it'll be an exciting week as the Giants take a 4 wins in a row going into today's game to see if they can sweep the Atlanta Braves. And when you start looking at what's going on today, the Giants just released their lineup today. So let me throw that out to you. Leading off, we're playing center field. Of course, he got called up middle of the week from the Sacramento Rivercats. That's the speedster Daniel Johnson hitting .290 playing center field. Elliot Ramos, who had a nice base hit in that 9th inning to get that home run by Chapman to win it. He's hitting second. He's playing left field, hitting .295, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs for Elliot Ramos. Hitting third, the designated hitter, 49 RBIs. That's Wilmer Flores. He's got 11 home runs. He's hitting .254. Matt Chapman, of course, the hero of the game yesterday, has 12 home runs, 30 RBIs. He's got the most home runs on the club right now. He's hitting .241. Dominic Smith back at first base today. Nice RBIs. He's got 4 RBIs, some great hitting with 1 out with runners on third base, a couple nice RBIs the other day. Of course, he's hitting .333. Casey Schmidt's playing shortstop today. As we found out earlier yesterday, Bob Melvin announced that Willie Adames is going to have a day off today as well as tomorrow. So we'll see Casey Schmidt playing shortstop today. He's got 3 RBIs, hitting .191. Mike Yastrzemski's back in right field today. He's got 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, hitting .230. Tyler Fitzgerald at second base. He's got 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, hitting .255. Andrew Kirshner is going to be catching today, and he'll be catching Landon Roop. Good starting staff, a good rotation of players today. A couple guys getting a couple days off, and that opens up the lineup today. It gives Willie Adames a day just to take a breather. He's played in every game, and there's been played 75 games. So a good day. Bob Melvin's just letting him relax a little bit. Today, a good matchup. Landon Roop, of course, he has been pitching really consistently lately. In the month of May, 5 games started. He went 26 innings, only giving up 25 hits, 5 earned runs. He was 1-2 in the month of May with a 1.73 earned run average. His San Diego start June 3rd, went 6 1/3 innings, only giving up 4 hits, no runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. Overall, numbers are really solid. 3-4 with a 3.18 earned run average, and that's in 12 starts, 62 1/3 innings, 22 walks, 61 strikeouts. Going against Spencer Strider. Spencer Strider, of course, last year had Tommy John surgery, so he's coming back after a year-long absence. He hasn't really pitched consistent so far. Of course, we've seen him with electric stuff before he went down with the elbow injury. 0-4 with a 5.6 earned run average. Velocity still not there. 19 innings, 18 hits, 12 earned runs. That's just not the Spencer Strider we have seen in the past. And he hasn't won a game. He's 0-4 with a 5.6 earned run average. So when you start looking at the lineups, the Atlanta Braves have not posted their lineup quite yet. You start looking at what the Giants have done at home. They're 21-11 at Oracle Park, 16-17 on the road. Against right-handers, 31 wins, 16 losses. Against left-handers, they're 6-12. One-run games, this is what they've been doing. This whole homestand of 6 straight games have been won or lost by 1 run. They're 12-6 at Oracle Park, 15-12 overall. All right, I'm Bill Lasky. This is the Giants warm-up show. Got a great show lined up. Alex Pavlich will be joining me at 10:15, And then we'll be talking to C.J. Nitkowski. Of course, he does the TV color for the Atlanta Braves. And then I talked to my good friend Mark Abanias. He'll be coming up at 11 o'clock. Just overview of what's going on with the San Francisco Giants and what his opinion is as they made a few changes this week. And then we talked to Thomas Harding from the Colorado Rockies. He's been following the Rockies for over 20 years, just to get a real preview of what's going on in this 3-game series in Colorado, and a lot of new faces in that Rocky lineup. Great show added up. My name's Bill Lasky. This is the KNBR Warm-Up Show. We'll take a quick break, come back with more right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader.
Fans, you know how I feel about Pave Fine Jewelry. Pave is celebrating its 40th anniversary. Located at 5496 College Avenue in Oakland. Phone is 510-547-7000. Michael Enlick, I've talked about him for so many years. He is the best jewelry designer in the Bay Area. It's time for weddings, it's time for graduation and special family events. Pave Fine Jewelry makes that moment special for you. You'll have it for your entire lifetime. Michael Enlick, I can't say enough about him. He is absolutely the best. PaveFineJewelry.com. Check him out.
as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
All right, welcome back to the KNBR warm-up show with Bill Lasky filling in for Kerry Crowley on a Sunday morning. And I can't complain with my first guest today, a good friend of mine, worked with him with NBC Bay Area. He's also has Giants Talk podcast with Cole Kuiper. Let's welcome in Alex Pavlovich. How are you today, Alex?
I'm good. How are you, Bill?
I'm doing good. Well, the ballpark was sure humming after that game yesterday. Did you see it when Matt Chapman came up?
Did I see that happening?
Yeah.
I guess you get kind of used to it with this team, right? I mean, it's 8 or 9 at home, so quite a few on this homestand, or the last couple homestands. So this is kind of what they do. I think I've thought for a few weeks, and going back to, really end of April, it's like this is one of those teams you don't want to let hang around, especially at home. I think what was impressive this week is they drew like 35,000 plus for all 4 Padres games. It's been that crowd just waiting for those moments. They haven't been giving it to them for the first 7-8 innings most nights, but their ole is still there, and they're ready for that.
Alex, this whole homestand, 1-run games. And, of course, Friday was the wild pitch in the extra inning game, of course, last night. But each game has been dramatic. I mean, you go back to the first game, losing 1-0 in 10 innings of the Padres. There's been some well-pitched games in this whole series, the homestand. And today, again, Landon Roop on the hill, he's been pitching very consistent. What have you seen out of the 6 games that you like about the Giants?
I think the bullpen, I mean, this goes back a couple months for me. I still think, there's going to be a lot made probably in the next few days or this weekend if they get the win today of the offensive shakeup that has helped a little bit. I think Dominic Smith has helped certainly. But I think for me, I just go back to the bullpen. They're keeping them in all of these 1-run games. And even if you go to the Harrison start where when he gets hit by that pitch and Sean Jelly comes in and throws like 2 1/3, 2 2/3, keeps it at a point where they can finally come back. I mean, they've done that all season long. And that, to me, is the pretty easy answer. I say this all the time, why they are where they are, and why I think why they are dangerous, actually, the next few months if they can find a way to score some runs. Because right now, it's like, if you look at the numbers, it's pretty easily the best bullpen in the National League.
Alex, Sean Jelly, Tristan Beck both come up on different parts of an IL and then a possibility of building the bullpen. These guys were both competing out of spring training. They sucked it up. They went to AAA, and they really have performed well, and both of them have done just as good as they have in the past. But what have you seen out of both of them and coming in different situations out of the bullpen so far?
Well, I think what you said is key. I mean, they attitude-wise handled it the right way. I mean, that was tough for either one. Either one of them could have had the Spencer Bivens spot coming out of camp. They probably thought, just given the way it's gone the last few years, that I'll be in AAA for a couple of weeks and we'll shuffle things around. But it's, almost a month without a roster move. They've been remarkably healthy with their pitching staff. So they haven't needed those guys. I think they handled it well. And you know both those guys. I don't think that's any surprise. But the fact that they stayed down there, did what they had to do, and came up ready in both their case. I mean, they've both thrown well, and I think especially in Sean's case, to be thrown into that situation the other night and keep that where it was, I mean, that helped them win a ball game. So it is really a really, really deep bullpen. And I think, you give Bivens credit, too. He's done a nice job all year to keep those guys at bay. But they have 3 of those guys now, and they've all done a nice job.
Going back to that Friday game in which they won on a wild pitch, I look at what Camilo Duvall did. And Camilo Duvall comes in and punches the side out in the 9th inning, Riley, Olsen, and Osuna. And there was a different attitude, I thought, from him. The Padre game where he kind of just struggled a little bit, throwing strikes and overthrowing. But something about his demeanor in that game showed me a little bit more fire.
Yeah, I think, he does a little hop at the end of innings when he gets out of it. And it was right around late April. I noticed that hop was getting pretty big again. And he seemed pretty comfortable again. And I think you've seen that with him, and you've seen that especially in the last few. And I think the important thing for him is he has a rough one and he bounces back and comes back and throws as well as he has all year. So it is really impressive. And you're seeing it on the other side this series, and we've seen it from a few of these teams now, but I think the Braves are a great example. Like the struggles in the 9th inning, it's really hard. It's hard across the league, and they have Iglesias who struggled, and they're throwing Pierce Johnson out there. And the Giants have multiple options. They could throw Randy Rodriguez out there if they want to. Ryan Walker's comfortable in those spots, even though it hasn't been quite what he expected, and they still have Camilo, who was ready when they called his name.
I know when I was at the ballpark with you and Bob Melvin, all three of us were there, and I think you chuckled when I called Bob Melvin the puppet master because he has so many different ways of using the bullpen. And he looked at me and he said, well, wouldn't you like all the puppets I have? Because it's one of the best bullpens I've ever had. And it was just a funny one-liner, but he's so true because look what he does and how he juggles guys. And it doesn't matter what inning, he's using the best forces he can to get people out.
Yeah, I think that's really, again, just going back to what makes him so dangerous, and what I think what did motivate Buster a little bit this week and should motivate him going forward is this is the kind of bullpen that can turn this into a 5-inning game, a 4-inning game if they have to. I mean, if they have the lead after 6, they have like 2 losses all year, 3 maybe. So it is a dominant bullpen. And I think the nice thing for Bob is he thinks this will be sustainable because he's able to kind of, they don't have to go 3 in a row. They've been able to use Randy every other day for the most part. They don't have to push him. They push Camilo a couple times, but for the most part, they're very careful with Tyler Rogers in terms of going 3 in a row and Walker. So I think he does feel like this will be sustainable because these guys will be there at the end of the year because of the way the way he's able to use them now.
Alex Pavlich for joining me on the KNBR warm-up show. Let's go to a piece you talked about the other day when Bob Melvin told you and the other reporters that Willy Adames was going to get a day off today. First game in 75 games that he's taken off. What do you see out of that, and do you think he really needs a day off?
Yeah, I think he does. I mean, he's somebody who wants to play every single day, and you were out there for early BP the other day. I mean, you see him, he's also taking early BP basically every single day trying to figure this out, and he's trying. It's just that, sometimes you need the day, and you get the day tomorrow. It's 48 hours, and I think this reminds me of when Bruce Bochy used to say, like, you always check the next day's starting pitcher when you flip the table because you want to make sure you're not facing like Greg Maddux the next day and hold your team meeting. This reminds me a little bit of that because it's a couple days off for Willie to reset, and then they go to Coors Field. So if there's ever a time to kind of figure this out, like this would be it. And I think they're hoping he feels fresh going into that series and maybe can see some production, can see some balls clear the wall or find a gap and just start to head in the right direction.
Yeah, I think I said 75 games. It's 65 games. Miscalculation there, but still that's a lot on his feet. What have you seen? I've had callers on my extra post-game show that thought his defense wasn't shining, and I disagreed with them. I thought his defense has been very good. Yesterday played a lot of balls up the middle. Of course, he bounced one into first base. Are you agreeing with me with his defense?
Well, the metrics average defensive run saved, and I think he might be at the bottom or right near the bottom. It's for shortstops. I haven't checked in a few days, but last I checked he was. So I think the metrics aren't great. I think it's been hit and miss. I think he would probably tell you it could be a little bit better and a little bit cleaner here. And I don't look at errors as much these days because, it's the scorekeeping's a little strange at times. But we do have some advanced stuff that can tell you it's maybe not where it was a couple years ago for him. I do think he has a strong arm, and we've seen that a few times on this homestand. But overall, this is not what he expected the first 2 months or 2+ months of this long contract.
Well, today all 3 players that Buster Posey kind of changed in the middle of the week. Dominic Smith, Daniel Johnson, and Andrew Kushner is all playing in the lineup today. Of course, Dominic Smith coming up with some key fly ball outs, some sac flies, some RBIs, putting the ball in play. And, when I looked at his stats in AAA, I think it was at 375 or so. The first thing I said is it may be AAA, but he's putting the ball in play, contact. And I think that's the number one word that the Giants weren't doing. And today he's back in the lineup, had a nice base hit to left field yesterday. The contact word is a big word here with Dominic Smith.
Yeah, I think the defense has been good. It's an upgrade for me there, just given we've seen the first week here. And it's really, I wrote this when they got him. I mean, he's been slightly below league average the last few years, and you look at his numbers last year, and just given where he was as a prospect, it's not maybe where people expected, and given sometimes what's asked of him when he comes in, That's maybe why he's bounced around a little bit. But they're asking him to basically not be one of the worst everyday players in the big leagues. So it's the bar is very low for him to contribute, and he had certainly exceeded that the first week here. But I mean, just making some contact, driving in some runs, a few sacks, flies here, and the occasional 3-hit game, and just playing good defense over there, it would be a huge improvement for them over at first base.
Well, let's take a peek at Daniel Johnson. Daniel Johnson, a speedster, really hasn't hit the ball that well. Plays some good defense. What does he bring into the table? What do you see a little bit more out of him that we have to see that we haven't seen yet?
Yeah, I think just a little bit of a different element, different type of player than the guys they've had in that spot. And just someone who, is, again, I feel like that part of that move was a little pointed to the clubhouse and pointed to the main guys, the guys who are everyday players. Just that, look, it wasn't just making a move at first; it was making 3 moves and turning over a quarter of your position players, and even swapping backup catchers. I mean, that to me felt like a little bit of a message, and we heard Buster say that it's time to go. He contributed the first game. They're taking a look at it here. I mean, he looks like a good defender, a comfortable defender, a little bit of a different element that maybe they could use. We'll see over time. I think with these things, generally, I come down on the side of you catch lightning in the bottle sometimes, but most of the time, as we've seen the last 2 years, at some point you go, oh, yeah, there's a reason some of these guys spend a lot of time in AAA, but certainly the first week, this has helped them at least get headed back in the right direction. And I think a lot of it was just kind of stop the bleeding that we saw the last couple weeks offensively, and especially the first 2 nights of this homestand.
Alex, a couple more questions on the KNBR warm-up show. You look at the schedules. The schedule is working for the Giants as they get tomorrow off, and then they play the Rockies in Colorado. Where on the other side, the Padres and the Dodgers are going to go at it for 3 games. This is an opportunity where the Giants could really make a mark.
Yeah, I was joking with my producer yesterday. I mean, decent chance they go into LA in first place, just given where they are. And, you should take care of business in Colorado. I know they've been maybe a little more competitive the last couple of weeks than they were earlier on, but still, I mean, pretty clearly the worst team in the league and one of the worst teams in MLB history. So chance to go in there, I think, and get right. And no matter what happens, I mean, they will make up ground on one of the 2 teams ahead of them if they can do that.
Well, you look forward to a sweep today against the Atlanta Braves. They're 4-2 on a homestand. What's your thoughts going in with Landon Roop against a very tough Atlanta Brave lineup today?
Yeah, good test for him. I think he's been quietly like one of the stories of May. He has these 2 other guys who were pushing him all spring, and they're both, I think, have shown flashes of they're ready also when Verlander comes back, if there's more of a conversation about what the rotation looks like. But Landon was fantastic in May, and he's become a 4-pitch guy. The changeup and the cutter that we saw all spring that he was trying to sharpen and trying to figure out how to become more of a 4-pitch guy and just not throw that curveball all the time. He has done that over the last 3-4 weeks, I think, and just really looks comfortable doing that. And that curveball is still one of the best in the big leagues, and it's still something that he can use whenever he needs to. So it's kind of the old cliche term, like he's become a pitcher and figured out how to pitch at the big league level, and you're seeing that the last month.
Alex, thanks for joining me on a Sunday morning. We'll see if the Giants can sweep the Braves, and most likely we'll see you on TV soon.
Yeah, I'll see you. Thanks, Phil.
All right, that was Alex Pavlich on the KNBR warm-up show. More coming up next. We're going to sit down and talk to CJ Nitkowski and seeing what the Braves have been doing after they've lost 6 in a row. We'll get the lineups out to you again. My name's Bill Lasky. This is the KNBR warm-up show. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader.
KNBR Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the KNBR Giants warm-up show with Bill Lasky filling in for Kerry Crowley as we continue to get you ready for the final game with the San Francisco Giants and the Atlanta Braves. Giants have won 4 in a row. The last 2 games against the Padres, and they took the first 2 and won the series. They're trying to make the sweep today. And if you look at the Atlanta Braves, they've lost 6 games in a row. And when you look at their 9 losses, they've all lost by 1-run games. Their last 9 losses, all by 1-run games. So today, the Giants have to try to put the frosting on the cake and try to win the series, sweep the series, more or less, I should say. And they have Landon Roop on the hill against Spencer Strider. I gave you the Giants lineup. Let's give you the Atlanta Braves lineup before we bring in C.J. Nitkowski. Leading off, once again, Ronald Acuna Jr. He'll be playing right field. 4 home runs, 7 RBIs, hitting .321. And he's been injured, so he hasn't had that many at-bats, but he's getting back in the realm. Batting second, Austin Riley. He's playing third base. He's got 11 home runs on the year, 35 RBIs, hitting .275. Matt Olson's hitting third, playing first base, 13 home runs, 34 RBIs, hitting .236. Batting fourth, their designated hitter, Marcell Ozuna. 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, hitting .262. Batting fifth, Michael Harris II. Boy, he's been hitting the ball real well the last 2 games at Oracle. He's playing center field, 4 home runs, 36 RBIs, hitting .237. Sean Murphy behind the plate for the Braves today. He's catching, hitting .219, 9 home runs, 21 RBIs. Ozzy Albiz is playing second base, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, hitting .231. Ellie White, he'll be out in left field. He's only got 2 home runs, 13 RBIs. He's hitting .241. And Nick Allen will be playing shortstop. He's a very good shortstop. Really impressed me the last 2 games. No home runs, 12 RBIs. He's hitting .231. Spencer Strider on the hill today. Of course, the right-hander's coming off of an injury of the Tommy John surgery. Has not pitched consistently yet. He's 0-4 with a 5.68 earned run average. He's given up 5 home runs in the 19 innings he's pitched. The 4 starts he's had, he threw against Arizona his last start. 5 innings, 6 hits, 5 earned runs. Through Philadelphia, 4 2/3, 1 earned run, 1 hit. That was his best outing he's had. Through against the Nationals, he only went 4 1/3, 6 hits, 4 earned runs. And his first start back was against Toronto, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs. So the pitch count will slow him down. Most likely he'll get to the 5th, maybe push to the 6th, depending on what his pitch count is going to be. They're definitely watching out for him. He is their ace, and of course he pitched so well 2 years ago. Landon Roop on the hill for the San Francisco Giants. He's 3-4 with a 3.18 earned run average, 62 1/3 innings, 64 hits, 22 earned runs, 22 walks, 61 strikeouts. But his last few outings, he has this really dialed in. When you go back all the way back when they pitched against the Athletics here, 6 innings, 5 hits, no runs, backed it up in Washington against the Nationals, 6 innings, 5 hits, no earned runs. Then he had a little trouble in Detroit where he only got 4 innings in, only gave up 1 earned run. There was 4 unearned runs, 2 walks, 7 strikeouts. And his last outing against San Diego on June 3rd, 6 1/3 innings, 4 hits, no earned runs, 2 walks, 5 strikeouts. And when you start looking at being consistent, the 26-year-old definitely has. And he's getting more comfortable out there. You can just see him with the pitch mix he's got. And today, we talked about the new catcher, Andrew Krishner. This is going to be a good test for him because of the pitch mix that Landon Roop throws. Of course, the sinker, the hard sinker he throws, the curveball, the 12-6 curveball. But now he's throwing more changeups and cutters in, and I think these are the 2 pitches that will make him a better starting pitcher. And you're starting to use it more to get added leverage on what he can do against the hitters, because earlier in the year, a lot of these hitters were just kind of sitting on the curveball and a sinker, and he got in trouble with it. So we'll see what the Braves can do against him today. A powerful lineup. Once again, we always talk about this lineup the Braves throw out there. They're 27-36. They just have not got going so far this year, and why not kick them down? Take one more game and take the flight over to Colorado, have the day off tomorrow. As I was talking to Alex, The Dodgers and the Padres are playing in a 3-game series Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Of course, the Giants are playing Colorado Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And I loved what Alex said. Maybe when they go into L.A., the Giants might be in first place. All right, we're going to take a quick break, come back with more as I sit down with C.J. Nitkowski. Of course, he does color play-by-play for the Atlanta Braves, and hear what he's going to talk about, what the Braves are struggling in, and seeing if they can get out of the 6-game losing streak. That's coming up next. My name's Bill Lasky. This is the KNBR Giants warm-up show. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader, KNBR.
Every game is so tight, and then just being able to pull it out last night and pull this one out, it's huge for our team. We're going to have some momentum. But
Welcome back to our KNBR Giants warm-up on the Sports Leader.
All right, welcome back to the KNBR Giants warm-up show with Bill Lasky as we get you ready for the final game of this homestand and also the final game against the Atlanta Braves before the San Francisco Giants take off to Colorado and the Atlanta Braves are off to Milwaukee. All right, my guest today pitched 10 years in Major League Baseball. Currently, he's a baseball broadcaster for the Atlanta Braves. You can also hear him on MLB Network Radio. Let's bring in C.J. Nitkowski. C.J., how are you today?
I'm doing great, Bill. How are you?
I'm doing great. I want to talk about your career a little bit. 44 saves, 73 games. You pitched with some big-time pitchers. You talk about John Smoltz, Russ Ortiz, Mike Hampton. You know, when you remember these guys, all three of them had great careers.
Yeah, they certainly did. I was fortunate to play for a long time, play with a lot of great teammates, a lot of Hall of Famers as well, and got to spend some time in Asia, both Japan and Korea. But, yeah, I feel very fortunate to call a lot of guys like that, teammates and guys that I still keep in touch with and see the baseball fraternity is a tight one and a fun one, and you're blessed. I mean, it's one of the greatest gifts I think the game gives you is the teammates and the journey along the way and the relationships that you develop, and certainly grateful for the guys I played with.
CJ, the Braves bring back a lot of alumni players. Of course, you played with Chipper Jones and Andrew Jones, both good players, excellent players, Hall of Fame players. What have these two guys done to the organization since they retired?
Yeah, it's been nice to have them both around. We see Andrew at the ballpark quite a bit. We'll even see him on the road once in a while. Lends a hand. We'll have a uniform on in spring training. Chipper's been pretty involved. He's not as involved this past year as far as helping hitters out. He's a family man with a lot of kids, and he's really busy. But when he is around, it is certainly appreciated. Anytime we get him in the booth and have the opportunity to talk with him, it's pretty fantastic. But they are very lucky in Atlanta for the guys that they have and guys that still want to be around, that still live in the area and are willing to give time to the current group.
That voice you hear on the KNBR warm-up show is C.J. Nitkowski. Of course, he's currently a broadcaster with the Atlanta Braves. Let's take a look at these first two games. Both of them are knockouts for the Braves, a walk-off wild pitch and a walk-off home run by Matt Chapman. On the other side of the clubhouses, not really an exciting clubhouse in that Braves clubhouse so far the last couple of days.
Yeah, they've had some issues with these close games, and actually the game even before they came to San Francisco was one of the toughest losses they've had in years, where they had given up a 6-run lead in the ninth inning and ended up losing at home. So it's been a rough stretch here. The one-run games have been a problem. They've lost 9 straight of those, and have been 19 and 18 in one-run games. The Braves and the Giants have played the most one-run games in baseball. The Giants have done well. The record has been good. This has been one of the Braves' issues, is these tight games and figuring out ways to win them. It looked like perhaps they had it yesterday down to your last out, and then Matt Chapman hits that big home run against Pierce Johnson. So it's one of those times right now for a roster that's a good roster full of good players that have won in the past that are trying to figure out what's going on and why they're losing all these close games.
CJ, you talked about that Arizona Diamondback game when the Diamondbacks came in and swept the Braves. Is Pierce Johnson now the closer, or is there a couple other names they're throwing in there, or what are the Braves doing in that closing position?
Yeah, I think there's no set closer right now. Raisel Iglesias, who had been so good for this team, it's just having one of these years where it seems like nothing's going right. And so they basically said that they would try a couple of different guys out. I think it's depending on who's available. Certainly Pierce Johnson is capable. De Los Santos has thrown really well here lately. I'd be perfectly comfortable with him getting an opportunity. I think ultimately they want to make sure they get Raisel Iglesias right and get him back in that spot because he's been, again, so good as the closer of the Atlanta Braves, so efficient in what he does. But this year's just been an off year for him, and so they're searching for some answers. But there's no definitive closer, it feels like, right now, according to Brian Snitker, but some guys will get opportunities.
CJ, both you and I were pitchers in the big leagues yesterday. 2 outstanding starters, Bryce Elder and Logan Webb, both sinker-slider type pitchers. Bryce Elder, I've never seen him pitch that well. He really was dialed in. He goes 8 innings, punching out 12, no walks. What have you seen out of him? He hasn't been pitching that consistent that he did yesterday. What did you see out of him yesterday compared to his other starts?
Yeah, Bryce Elder's got a really good two-seam fastball, changeup combination that keeps the baseball on the ground. What was amazing about yesterday was the amount of swing and miss that he was able to generate. He's not a strikeout pitcher, but he sets a career high with the 12 strikeouts with no walks in there. He's been throwing the ball better. You know, he is more of, I think at this point he's an all-star a couple of years ago, but I think we look at him now as a guy that can be, back end of the rotation, try to get you 5 or 6, keep you in a game, keep the ball in the ballpark. He works really quickly. We saw the best version of him, though. He's been working hard. He's been trying to get that sinker back to where he needs it, and it was excellent. So he's been good. Keep the ball on the ground, generate swing and miss. Like I said, that's the best you'll see, I think. He did have a complete game earlier in his career, but it was special yesterday. It was unfortunate the Braves couldn't finish it off and get the win, but he has answered the bell. He's had a lot of up and down the last couple of years after being an all-star, as I mentioned 2 years ago. He has been back and forth between the minor leagues these past 2 seasons, and he has handled it like a pro, and he's proving that he belongs to stay.
CJ Nitkowski joining me for a few more minutes on the KNBR Giants warm-up show. You can follow him on X at CJ Nitkowski. We got to talk about the pitcher today, Spencer Strider. I mean, he had some excellent games a couple of years ago. Of course, Tommy John put him on the shelf. What have you seen out of him? Because his numbers just aren't Spencer Strider-ish numbers in my book.
Yeah, he's working his way back, right? So he had the elbow surgery, and then when he got back after 2 starts, he ended up having a hamstring injury, or 1 start, he had a hamstring injury. So it's only been 4 starts since he has returned from the elbow surgery. So he's kind of working through it. I think still getting a feel. His velocity's down. I mean, he threw so hard, say down. His version of down is he sits 95 miles an hour, which you can certainly still get big league hitters out with. But he was 97, 98 with consistency during that 22 and 23 seasons where he dominated. All the other pitches are down about 2 miles an hour. So slider's down 2 miles an hour, which has been a dominant pitch for him in the past. He's not generating as much swing and miss. I think you could still see him kind of feeling for the command. You hear a lot of guys talk about that post-elbow surgery, working through that and getting that feel back. It's not going to happen right away. So I think you continue to kind of keep an eye on that with him. I'm not worried, like I said, about the velocity as much as others are. For me, it's just more about the command within the zone and getting it back to where it has been. But he's a tinker. He's a really smart guy, one of the smartest I've ever listened to talk about pitching, the way his body works, how pitches work, because of the way his body works for him and how he builds an arsenal. So he's a fascinating guy to watch. But you're right, it's been a little bit of a slow start since coming back from the elbow surgery. But he'll get there. It's just a matter of time before he gets completely right.
Well, CJ, Robbie Ray on our side here with the Giants. Of course, last year he threw maybe 10, 12 starts. This year he's just been dynamic. And listening to him and doing interviews, he always talked about the follow-through, the last part of when the ball comes off the fingertips. He had a hard time getting the release point down. Now it's so much better. And it's got to be because of the injury and all the different mechanical things you do. You and I both pitch, like I said. And it's always about the feel, the last part of the pitch coming off your fingertips. Do you see that as a possible, something that he has to get through?
Yeah, it's hard to say. I don't know for sure. I mean, they have such great technology today with the Edgertronic cameras that give you the super slow motion that you can sit there and watch exactly how that ball comes off your fingertips, where we were left to kind of guess and feel and count on others to see what maybe they were seeing with their eyes. It's a lot different now. But, again, with him, no matter what it is, certainly he can figure it out. He's got tremendous extension, right? We always talk about trying to get out front like you mentioned. But we would just kind of, you couldn't measure it. Well, they can measure it now. And Spencer Strider, when he is right, has nearly 7 feet of extension, which puts him in like the top 10, 12 starting pitchers in baseball. There's not too many guys. Like even watching Jelly yesterday pitch for the Giants, he's 6'11", and he gets about 6.6 feet of extension from the mound. And you have Spencer Strider, who's 6 foot tall, and he gets 7. Right? It's really interesting. So getting down the mound, getting that extension, it certainly is important to make sure you're finishing off your pitches, but his extension has been pretty close to where it's been in the past.
CJ Nitkowski on the warm-up show on KNBR for a few more minutes. Let's look at this lineup. Of course, Ronald Acuna Jr. is coming back. He's only got 53 at-bats. A little slow start a little bit for him. Of course, his speed's getting there. He hasn't stolen a base yet. What do you think about him? Is he getting acclimated back into playing every day?
He is. His swings look great right from the beginning. Hit a home run in the first pitch that he saw coming off the IL after missing nearly a full calendar year with the knee injury. I think as far as the stolen bases, it's a matter of what they're deciding to do. Right, it's been in the injury on both knees over the course of his career. So I think they're just trying to play it safe and trying to play smart. But he's moving well. He looks good. He looks good in the outfield. The arm looks really good, which he's always had. It's an arm that can get into triple digits from the outfield. So I think outside of the running, which I think is by design, he kind of looks like the old Ronald Acuna Jr. He's got that beautiful swing, great follow through. He's been pitched tough. Obviously, when you're that good of a player, everyone's going to give you your best every single time you're in there. But I've been encouraged with how he has looked. It's been great to have him back in the lineup.
Well, the Atlanta Braves came in with 23 errors, number one in Major League Baseball. I always look at the corners. Of course, Austin Riley playing third, Matt Olson playing first. But the guy that's really opened up my eyes in this two-game series is Nick Allen, the shortstop. He has been playing flawless. Tell me a little bit more about Nick Allen.
Yeah, he's been incredible. Of course, fans know him from his days with the A's and in Oakland. He always had the plus glove. He came into camp not really guaranteed of anything, but ultimately ended up taking the job from Orlando Arcia, who's now with the Colorado Rockies, because the defense is so good. The quality at bats, he's going to give you a little bit more contact. He's going to spray the ball around. He's been terrific. He made an error in was it the first game or yesterday? 2 games, first game of the series, just his second of the year. His defense has been incredible. So he's done a really nice job. He's been a really good fit here, and he's taken full advantage of his opportunity.
Well, in the Braves lineup today, Michael Harris II is now hitting fifth. Hit the ball real well, hit a nice home run for the Braves the other day. Very good center fielder, no question about that. What about his offensive numbers? So far, 4 home runs, 36 RBIs. He's kind of hitting in the fifth spot, as I said. What do you see out of him? And is this somebody that's going to be more of a middle-of-the-order kind of guy?
I think he's up in the order because he's seeing Roop today, and Michael's hit the curveball really well. He's one of the few in the Braves lineup that has gotten to the curveball, so that's probably part of it. There's been a lot of chase in his game. His numbers have been down for him if you kind of look at the trajectory of his career, but he's still got all the talent in the world. I think it's just a matter of kind of limiting some of that chase, which he's always done, but he's not getting the results when he's going after pitches that are outside of the strike zone. I was thinking Michael was really going to have a big year. He's got superstar potential. It's why they locked him up to the contract that they did. But he's gotten off to a little bit of a slower start a couple of months into the season, but he's been coming around. He's been swinging the bat a lot better lately.
CJ, last one for you. The Braves have lost 6 straight in a row. A lot of stress, a lot of pressure in that clubhouse. What do you see with this team coming in today where the pressure's mounting? They have to try to get a win. What can they do today to offset this Giants team? Because the Giants have a lot of magic in this homestand.
Yeah, I think it goes back to the curveball with Roop today and how well they're able to get to it. It's a really, really good pitch. There's no getting around it. So that is the biggest challenge that they'll have today, but it's a really professional team. These guys don't get too high. They don't get too low when they're winning. They look the same when they're losing because they've been there. They've done it. And a lot of these guys have won a World Series in the past and have been really successful. So you just continue to lean on what you do so well. Don't panic. And we haven't seen any of that. This team gets after it every day. They do their work every day. It's the little things. Like I said, it's been those one-run games that have been the real issue, and it's just a matter of finding a way to get over the hump.
CJ, a pleasure to talk to you once again. You take care, my friend. And again, good stuff as always.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Have a great day.
That was C.J. Nitkowski. Of course, you hear him on Atlanta Braves baseball. He's a broadcaster, does TV and radio. All right, we're going to take a quick break here on the KNBR warm-up show. Coming up next, I sit down with a good friend of mine from Channel 2. He was on for 40 years. That's Mark Ibanez. He's coming up next right here with Bill Lasky on the Sports Leader, KNBR.
Wag, Play, Bark. Wag Hotels offers fun-filled, supervised play for your pet in a safe and clean environment. Whether it's a day of doggy daycare or an overnight stay, Wag Hotels' welcoming and friendly staff is there 24/7, 365 days a year to care for your pet. Pamper your pet with the Wag Hotels spa and grooming services, training, one-on-one buddy time, and much more. Wag Hotels Wag Cam lets you check in on your pet anytime. Locations in Northern and Southern California. Visit waghotels.com for more information.
We're getting you in the mood for a crazy crab sandwich, some garlic fries, a cha-cha bowl, and some orange and black baseball. KNBR's Giants warm-up keeps rolling on the sports leader.
Welcome back to the KNBR warm-up show as we continue on, as we get to the third game with the Atlanta Braves to see if the Giants can sweep the Braves and really make this homestand stay on top. My guest today was in TV for over 40 years. He was a Channel 2 sports director. He covered 9 Super Bowls, 8 World Series, a Warriors championship run. And now that he's retired, he's a Giants fan. Let's bring in my buddy Mark Ibanez. Mark, how are you this morning?
I've always been a Giants fan. I just had to fake it a little bit on TV. But, I'm old-fashioned, Bill. I'm happy to put down my Sunday paper, the actual paper, and take some time to talk to you this morning. So awesome visiting with you, as always.
Well, Mark, we got to talk about this homestand. 6 games out of the 7, all one-run games. And, of course, yesterday, the walk-off home run by Matt Chapman. Friday, a walk-off wild pitch. 2 dramatic games, 2 exciting games. Tell me your thoughts on both of them.
Well, it'd be kind of cool to have a laugher every now and then, when's the last time the Giants won a game, say like 8-1? Give me that just once, just once. I'm like, I told my wife on Friday night when we were watching that game, I'm like, this is pathetic. I've got sweaty palms. I'm supposed to be retired, but once it's in your blood. But I will tell you something about that game, which Friday night was the 3rd Giant game of the week to go into extra innings. And I'm not positive as to how you feel, but I just cannot stand. I can't get over how much I just disdain that stupid ghost runner, whatever you want to call it. I call it the invisible man at second base, and I think it taints the game. I think it cheapens it. And, the Giants lost 2 to the Padres like that, and they won. And, obviously I wanted the Giants to win Friday night. But if you think about it, the Braves lose a very tough, well-played game. And what did the Giants do in that 10th inning? They had 2 ground outs and got a wild pitch, and the guy who scores was the same guy who got picked up in the 9th inning.
Absolutely right. You're absolutely right on that.
I agree that maybe you do that in the 12th or 13th inning, but I just don't think it's real baseball, and I wish there'd be a groundswell of energy toward ending that. And like I say, I'd live with it if it was like the 12th or 13th inning, but it immediately sends it into a game that I'm not familiar with, man. We didn't even do that in backyard ball growing up,
And you're absolutely right, Mark. I've been talking about it in the past few post games. It's just not good baseball. You go 9 innings in a real well played game, and all of a sudden you lose on a player that's not even on the field with a walk, an error, or a hit, and you're giving the opposition a new run to possibly score, and then you have to come back in the bottom of the inning to do the same. I just don't like it. It's ruined Major League Baseball. I've said
I
it the
agree.
same way with you. Let it go into the 12th or 13th inning. Then you're talking 3.5 hours. Then I don't mind it. But I think the
Right.
10th and 11th inning, and maybe even the 12th inning, because then you get 9 players up. Let it be old-fashioned baseball.
Exactly. And, those two games against the Padres really stuck in my craw because they were great games and they're division games and they're very important. And the Giants need to get their confidence up against, a team that everybody picked to finish above them in the West. And for the games to end like that was really disheartening. But on the positive flip side of that, I think the Giants had a chance to really show their character after two heartbreaking losses against the Padres to come back and split that series. I was out there my first game in person Wednesday night, and man, when they got down 5-0, you know what everybody was thinking, man. They haven't scored 6 runs in a week, So it was great, and I love, I put my faith in Buster. I love what he's doing with this team, and I really like the fact that he did not let everybody get too low, down and out, and he made some roster moves right at, I believe, the perfect time. I mean, Lamont Wade had a lot of leeway, and you knew they had to make a move, and I just like what he did, and I think it came at the right time because it sends a message to the players that, look, number one, I'm going to take care of you. I'm going to bring in extra strength to help you out. And number two, it's also a message in that if you don't perform after a while, when you've been given a great opportunity, for instance, like Lamont Wade was, and you don't do it, I mean, you can't stay there forever. You're not on scholarship. So I love the timing of Buster's moves, and you look how they've responded really well. They've won 4 in a row now. So pretty cool.
That voice you hear on the KNBR warm-up show, you've heard him many times on Channel 2. He's a sports director. Mark Aben is a good friend of mine. And Mark, you talk about what this team has done. They've won 4 straight, some exciting baseball. They're starting to get some clutch hitting. The pitching has just been awesome, off the charts. Why don't you talk a little bit about what you saw out of Logan Webb yesterday? Really spot on, was really throwing the ball well. Got into 100 pitches, had one bad inning in a 6th where they gave up 3 base hits, but he got out of it with only 1 run. And I was throwing these numbers out yesterday: 24 innings, 36 strikeouts, 1 walk in his last 4 appearances.
Yeah, he's been brilliant. He's the ace of the staff, although Robbie Ray's kind of chasing him for that honor. But, I'm going to harken back just 24 hours to your interview, maybe less than that you had on with Leo Mazzone. Because I tell you, anybody who loves pitching and talking about all that in modern baseball, you need to get, on your website and check out that interview, because Mazzone talked about something that I thought was really brilliant. And I'm getting to the point about Logan Webb is, he talked about Glavine and Maddox and Smoltz, and they kind of, they were brilliant pitchers, but they didn't mind the batters making contact.
Right.
They weren't always going for the strikeout. And Mazzone, who is a great pitching coach, obviously, talked about how these guys come out of the chute right now and they're just firing away at 100%, right? They don't have anything left in the tank. Well, I think Logan Webb, if you looked at him a few years ago, I mean, he's not necessarily the kind of pitcher you think of as a strikeout guy. And I wouldn't mind seeing his strikeout totals go down and his pitch count going down. And, he does a good job of getting into the 7th and 8th. And don't get me wrong, I'm certainly not criticizing Logan Webb. He's an ace. But, it'd be kind of cool for him to lessen that pitch count, because I'm thinking long term. I'm thinking September. I'm thinking October. And, leave a little something in the tank. And it doesn't hurt not to have double-digit strikeouts, So that's just my thought on it. But, man, I love watching him pitch because he's got so much confidence now. And you just feel great when you send him out to the mound.
Mark, the key here is Patrick Bailey. Of course, you and I have talked several times about the offensive side. He's struggling, but the defensive side has just been on top. He uses all the pitches of every pitcher coming in. Even the relievers coming in, their secondary pitches are pristine. What I love about him is you don't get too many shakeoffs. You do a few times, but he's right on in some of the marks that he has, especially like Asuna going away, and all of a sudden he throws one in and strikes him out. You go against Acuna away, and then he throws an off-speed pitch and gets him swinging over. he uses the pitches the right way. And the secondary pitches, I commend him because he does it with full count, 2-2, in situations where the pitcher could walk him. But most of the time, the swingers are swinging and they miss it.
Yeah, you can tell that everybody on that staff that throws to him, just Patrick Bailey, they completely trust him. He's an intellect behind there. You can tell he's well thought out. He's obviously studied and well prepared, much like the guy who is now in the front office preceding him. Buster was prepared 99.9% of the time, and I think he's followed in those footsteps, and it shows that the guys don't shake him off a lot, and they put their trust in him, and he is starting to come around a little bit with the bat, which is nice to see. But you can afford to have a guy who's not necessarily hitting 290 as your catcher because it's a premium position where the defense is so important. Obviously, you can't afford to have a guy hitting 160 at first base or something like that because the defense doesn't make up for it necessarily. And Patrick Bailey, if he could hit 240, 250, God, they'd have the best catcher in the league, in my opinion. He's awesome defensively.
Yeah, anything on the offensive side is a plus, and we've seen him hit a couple balls really squared up, and a couple of them he still rolls over. But you got to look
Right.
at the defensive side. I am 100% don't care about the offensive side. Sure, like you're saying, wish you could get a hit, wish you could get his first home run. Well, he got one, maybe a
Yeah,
couple more.
right.
But
Yeah, don't sell him short,
yeah,
Bill. Come
I
on.
know you're right. But the key is I think the way he catches behind home plate, he's almost 50% at throwing guys out at second, and I just love how he frames the ball. And I think the Giant pitchers have so much faith in him.
Yeah, it's obvious with the way they just seem relaxed about him calling a game because, like I say, they know he's done his homework and they rely on his intellect back there. And you know what I love is the fact that you can see it now with the opposition. Words got around that when a guy does get on first base, stick close to the bag when Bailey's back there because he'll make that snap throw a la Pudge Rodriguez and way back when we're old enough to remember Johnny Bench doing that kind
Sure.
of stuff. And there's been some guys who do that, but not a lot. And, Bailey's done that quick snap throw behind the runner at first base, and he's nailed a couple guys this year. And so I think the word's out. And, those little things that don't necessarily show up in the box score wind up helping you win ball games. And if you're going to be in that many close games like the Giants have been, those little things make all the difference in the world.
Oh, you're absolutely right. A couple more minutes with Mark Ibanez on the KNBR warm-up show on a beautiful Sunday morning. Giants going for a sweep today. Landon Roop against Spencer Strider. And you and I have talked about Spencer Strider in years past. This guy could throw, but right now he's struggling a little bit. 0-4 with a 5.6. On the opposite side, the Giants are putting out a pretty hot pitcher, Landon Roop, in the month of May. 1-2 with a 1.7 earned run average. He's been electric.
Yeah, this guy is really developing into it and a reliable starter. And you really got to love, Birdsong and Roop as they've started to come up, and you can kind of feel the confidence growing with them. And you'd like to see them, start making that next jump up into the sixth and seventh innings of the games and cutting down on their pitch count, long about the fourth or fifth inning. They're getting up there with 80 pitches or something. But this, Bill, you got to catch teams. You got to get fortunate. You got to get lucky to hit teams when they're down and out. And look at with the Braves. I mean, man, can you imagine them? Didn't they blow like a 6-run lead on
Yeah.
the
Against
Thursday?
the Diamondbacks, sure. They've lost
Yeah,
6 in a row, Mark,
yeah.
and 9 straight losses with 1-run losses. So they got to be pulling their hair out of their hat, and their pitchers
Yeah.
they've been pitching pretty well too.
Yeah, I mean, think about it. They blow that lead. Then they come to San Francisco hoping a change of venue helps them out. They lose that terrible game on Friday night on a walk-off. And then Matt Chapman, love seeing that, by the way. If Chapman could get rolling with the bat, they'd be off and running. But, it's nice to see that the Giants are taking command in these close ball games, and the Braves down and out. I don't feel sorry for them. I've not liked them since '93 when they made that cheap trade to get Fred McGriff. So I don't feel bad for them,
And let's
and
go
I
for the
say
sweep,
go for
right?
the
Let's go
sweep,
for the
baby.
sweep today, baby.
Get the dang broom out and do it. And you realize the Dodgers right now. I mean, they are not playing good baseball. They've lost a couple in a row to the Cardinals. I think I haven't looked at the standings, but next week at this time, a week from today, Sunday, we could be talking about a Giant team that could be in first place because they're playing the Rockies and then they play head up with the Dodgers. They have a good series there. You could be talking about the first place Giants in the middle of June.
Love to hear
that's
that.
not
Love to
crazy
hear that.
talk. I mean,
do.
why not? Let's
Why
do
not?
it.
Mark Avanias, I thank you for joining me on a Sunday morning. Enjoy your beautiful Napa weather up there, and thank you again for your time.
Always my pleasure, Billy. And, quite simply, you're the best.
Mark, I
All right,
appreciate your time, buddy. That
Thanks
was
for
Mark
letting me
Avanias.
vent.
That was Mark Avanias on the KNBR warm-up show. More coming up right here on the Sports Leader, KNBR.
Sound right, boys. Sound right, boys. It sound right, boy.
Chapman. Chapman's 0 for 3. Has not liked the strike zone today. The 1-1. He drives one. Deep left field. At the wall. Gone! Matt Chapman wins it. A 2-run walk-off home run. And everybody out of the dugout waiting for Chapman. He gets to home plate and he gets mobbed by the Giants. 3-2, a walk-off win.
While Bob Melvin preps the men in orange and black, we'll prep you for today's ball game as our Giants warm-up continues on the Sports Leader.
All right, back on the warm-up show with Bill Lasky filling in with Kerry Crowley as he takes a day off, and the Giants are looking to sweep the Atlanta Braves. First pitch right here at 1:05. Of course, that home run that Matt Chapman had, it has to be the home run of the week, and that's sponsored by Pacific Catch, the Bay's finest seafood destinations. That was his 12th home run. Matt Chapman now leads the Giants with 12 home runs, 30 RBIs. Also, earlier in that game, Wilmer Flores hit a home run. That was his 11th, 49 RBIs for Wilmer Flores as they continue on with 65 games for the San Francisco Giants, 37-28 right now for the orange and black. All right, let's take a look at these lineups. I gave the Giants lineup early in the show. We'll go right back to it. Let's start with the Braves. Let's go to what the Braves are throwing out there today. A 6-game losing streak for the Atlanta Braves. And if you listen to that C.J. Nikowski, 9 losses by 1 loss, 1 run or not. And when you start thinking about 9 straight losses, all by 1 run, it's a big, big mark. And let's see if the Giants can sweep them today. It would be a great frosting on the cake, as you say, going into Colorado for 3, and then the LA Dodgers next weekend, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's take a look at what the Braves are throwing out there today. Leading off, Ronald Acuna Jr. hitting .321, playing right field. Austin Riley playing third base. He's hitting .275, 11 home runs, 35 RBIs. Matt Olson hitting in the third hole, playing first base, 13 home runs, 34 RBIs. .236, a little lower than what he usually does. Batting fourth, Marcell Ozuna. He will be doing the DH once again. 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, hitting .262. Michael Harris is second. I talked to CJ about it, hitting the ball well, and he's a good curveball hitter, and we know about Landon Roop's curveball. Michael Harris the second. He'll be playing center field, 4 home runs, 36 RBIs, .237 batting average. Sean Murphy behind the plate for the Braves today, .219, 9 home runs, 21 RBIs. Ozzie Albies is playing second base, 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, hitting .231. He's hitting the 7th spot. Eli White is in left field. He's got 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, hitting .241 for the Braves. And a shortstop that I really kept eyes on for these last 2 games, Nick Allen. Really good glove man. He's hitting 9th. He's playing shortstop, .231, no home runs, 12 RBIs. Acuna, Riley, Olson, Ozuna, Harris, Murphy, Albies, White, and Allen. That's what the Braves are throwing out there. Of course, Spencer Strider on the hill for the Braves. For the Giants, leading off playing center field, Daniel Johnson hitting .290 on a short stint up here since the middle of the week. Batting second, hitting .295 already. Elliot Ramos, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs, playing left field. Wilmer Flores also hitting third once again. Designated hitter role, .254. 11 home runs, 49 RBIs. Matt Chapman, the hero of the game yesterday, playing third base. .241 is average, 12 home runs, 30 RBIs for the season. Dominic Smith, boy, he's been playing great defense at first base. And he's driving the ball in. He's getting some sack RBIs. He's got 4 RBIs. No home runs yet, hitting .333. Casey Schmidt playing shortstop today as Willie Adames gets the day off after 65 straight games. No home runs, 3 RBIs, hitting .191. Mike Yastrzemski's back in right field, 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, hitting .230. Tyler Fitzgerald hitting 8th, playing second base, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, .255 average. And Andrew Christner is now catching today, giving Patrick Bailey the day off. Johnson, Ramos, Flores, Chapman, Smith, Schmidt, Yastrzemski, Fitzgerald, and Krisner. And, of course, Landon Roop on the hill for the San Francisco Giants. Giants are 37-28. The Braves are 27-36. The Giants are looking to sweep the Atlanta Braves today. They've swept 3 teams already in the season, all American League West teams. They swept the Seattle Mariners, the Houston Astros, and the Athletics from Sacramento. All those were 3 sweeps earlier in the season. The Giants swept the Braves back in 2018, May 4th through the 6th at Atlanta. Their first home sweep of the Braves were May 25th and 27th in 2009. In the last 20 games, San Francisco scored more than 4 runs just twice, June 4th versus San Diego and June 6th versus Atlanta. All right, we're going to take a peek with this Colorado Rockies coming up on a 3-game series. Thomas Harding will join me in a little bit. We'll take a quick break, jump into the probable pitchers in that series, and talk more San Francisco Giants right here on the Giants Warm-Up Show with Bill Lasky, filling in for Kerry Crowley on a beautiful Sunday afternoon as we get ready for the 3rd game of the Atlanta Braves series. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
Wilmer, high drive, down the line, left field. It is out of here. Right over the cars and left, and the Giants lead 1-0.
It's almost time for hot dogs, peanuts, cold beers, and orange and black baseball. Our Giants warm-up rolls on the Sports Leader.
All right, back on the KNBR Giants warm-up show with Bill Lasky as we get you ready for that first pitch at 1:05. Spencer Strider for the Braves against Landon Roop should be a good pitching matchup. Now let's take a look at what's going on here. The Giants, after today, they'll be traveling to Colorado to face the Rockies. If you remember, they faced the Rockies May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. They dropped the first game 4-3. They come back with a shutout on Friday, May 2nd. They won that one 4-0. On Saturday, they ended up winning that one 6-3. And then, of course, on Sunday, they ended up beating the Rockies 9-3. They took 3 out of 4 in that series. And now they're off to Colorado. And here's the probables. Of course, tomorrow's an off day. On Tuesday, 2 left-handers are going to face each other. First pitch right here at 5:40. Carson Palmquist, a left-hander for the Rockies. He's 0-4 with an 8.5 earned run average versus Kyle Harrison, 1-1 with a 4.3 earned run average. On Wednesday, same starting time, 5:40 first pitch. Kyle Freeland, who's really been struggling with the Rockies, left-hander again, 1-8 with a 5.19 earned run average against one of the aces, Robbie Ray. He's 8-1 with a 2.44 earned run average. And then Thursday's a day game. It's a 12:10 p.m. start here in California. And Tony Sensatella's on the hill. And these numbers are exactly what the Giants need to get the offense going. Sensatella, 1-10 with a 6.6 earned run average. Against Hayden Birdsong, 3-1 with a 2.55 earned run average. Then the Giants go down to L.A. and they play the Dodgers for 3 games. First time they're head-to-head with the Dodgers in the 2025 season. First time in a long time. They usually play them in April or May. This year, they're not playing them until June. All right, coming up next, I sit down and talk to Thomas Harding. Thomas Harding is a writer for the MLB Network. He also has been covering the Rockies since 2000, and he does a great job with them. The Rockies really have played very well lately. They got a lot of young players coming in. But when you start looking at their record, of course, they got rid of Buddy Black, a good friend of mine, and they were 7-33 at the time when Buddy got released. And at that time, the night before he got fired, they lost to the San Diego Padres 21-0. So they had to make some amends. They got rid of Mike Redmond, of course, a bench coach with Buddy Black. And now Warren Schaefer is the manager for the Colorado Rockies. So we'll sit down and talk to Thomas Harding. That's coming up next as we preview the Rockies against Giants on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of next week before they face the Dodgers next weekend. I'm Bill Lasky. This is the Giants Warm-Up Show. Coming up next, Thomas Harding and I sit down to talk about Colorado Rockies. That's right here on KNBR, the Sports Leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the Sports Leader.
Georgie Brothers Furniture Showroom is a full-service home furnishing store located at 211 Baden Avenue in South San Francisco and has been in business for 92 years. It is one of the Bay Area's best-kept secrets. Still operated by the third-generation Georgie family, their goal is to offer expert and personal service as well as white-glove in-home delivery. Georgie Brothers also features a Simmons Beautyrest mattress gallery. Get a great night's sleep at an amazing price. Come visit our 50,000-square-foot showroom, which is full of beautiful quality furniture pieces. You can also visit them at GIORGIBROS.com.
Pralines and Cream, Tin Roof Sundae, Rocky Road. These are just a few of the Lenardi's Market's customer favorites. Lenardi's old-fashioned gourmet ice cream, smooth, creamy, and delicious. Lenardi's ice cream is made locally with fresh quality ingredients. Lenardi's ice cream is the perfect end to a great meal or after a Giants win. Stop by one of Lenardi's 8 locations and treat yourself to your favorite flavor. San Bruno, Burlingame, Belmont, Los Gatos, 2 in San Jose, 1 in Bascom, 1 on Meridian, Walnut Creek, and Danville. Lenardi's, quite simply the best.
Does your dog enjoy playtime with other dogs? Have your dog enjoy the fun at WAG Hotels. WAG Hotels offers overnight care, daycare, training, and grooming for your pet. The best part is WAG Hotels are open 24/7, 365 days a year. Guests at WAG Hotels enjoy fun, engaging activities throughout their stay. WAG Hotels have a well-trained and caring staff that will treat your pet like it's their own. If you want the best for your pet while you're away for the day or on vacation, bring them to WAG Hotels, with locations in Northern and Southern California. Visit waghotels.com for more information.
Your financial journey is unique, and Pettinelli Financial Partners is here to help you navigate it with confidence. So whether you're building your future or securing your retirement, their team provides lifelong personal guidance every step of the way. Start planning your financial journey today. Learn more at PettinelliFP.com. The financial consultants at Pettinelli Financial Partners are registered representatives with and securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC. Investment advice offered through Stratus Wealth Partners, a registered investment advisor. Stratus Wealth Partners and Pettinelli Financial Partners are separate entities from LPL Financial.
Handcrafted in the Bay Area of California, Birdman Bats offer some of the finest, highest quality wood baseball bats and gloves in the world. Stand out this season on or off the diamond with our infinite options of customization at birdmanbats.com. Turn your visions into reality with our online bat and glove builder, and check out all the other gear we offer as well. All available at birdmanbats.com. Birdman Bats. Chirp, chirp.
We all believe a good fastball is what you need to pitch in the big leagues, but it's all about location. The Handler Union Square Hotel in the heart of the city by the bay is the answer. I'm not throwing you a curveball. The Handler Union Square Hotel has an outdoor swimming pool, fresh open-air windows, and much, much more. Call 800-995-HUSH or go online at handlery.com, enter promo code Lasky for parking included. That's 800-995-HUSH. It's a winner.
Don't miss a second of the action from Bomel Squad. Listen to the best double plays in the business.
Wisely has it, flips to Fitzgerald for one, over to first, double play!
Plays at the plate.
Freeman hits a high chopper to Chapman. He's got it. He's coming home, and the throw in the tag, and they got him.
Sean Miller's home run calls.
There's a shot deep down the left field line. It's on its way from Berkeley. Adios, pelota!
All season long on the San Francisco Giants Radio Network. The show built for the orange and black family. This is Giants Warm Up on KNBR, the sports leader.
Welcome back to the KNBR Warm Up Show with Bill Lasky. My guest today has been covering the Colorado Rockies since 2000. Had him on our show many times. Let's welcome in Thomas Harding. Thomas, how are you today?
Feeling good, feeling clean. How about you, Bill?
We're doing great out here in San Francisco, getting ready to travel for a 3-game series to Colorado next week. But on May 11th, my good friend Buddy Black was let go. Also Mike Redmond. And now Warren Schaefer is the new manager. Tell us what's happened out there since then.
Well, they've continued to struggle, but they have gradually and at times rapidly tried to go younger. I mean, it's like there were a couple of guys that are now in the minors, Adele Amador and also Michael Tolia. Warren Schaefer went with them to see exactly where they were, then sent them down trying to bring them up to develop them. Ezekiel Tovar, he came off the IL. He looked a lot better with him in the lineup than with him not there, but he's gone back on the IL, this time with an oblique injury. And Ryan Ritter, who has burned up AAA this year, he had 12 home runs in May. He's up here. He'll get his debut. And what I was told in the days leading up to this was they weren't going to bring him up here to sit. They were going to bring him up here to play and see what he looks like in the major league. So if you look at the bullpen, which is the best part of this team, it's mostly populated with younger guys. There's a total transition here. Hey, the record is what it is. I mean, it's going to be one of the worst records in baseball history if it doesn't suddenly change. But the question is, where's it leading? And that's what they're trying to work on here. Can they develop some people until they start getting in just better overall talent?
Thomas, is Warren Schaefer the co-manager? Is he going to be the manager up until the end of the season? Are they looking otherwise, or do you think he's the kind of guy to deliver, trying to make these young players big leaguers?
Well, what he's doing is he's just dedicated himself to doing exactly that, trying to make the young players big leaguers. He is the interim manager, and there's been nothing beyond that said by the Rockies. So will they be looking for a more experienced manager? Will they feel like that maybe continuing a building project? Because if you look at the staff here, everybody that's on the coaching staff of the Rockies, and they brought up a couple of hitting guys, Nick Wilson and Jordan Pacheco, with this move. Everybody that's on the major league coaching staff has worked with these guys in the minor leagues. So it does look like, hey, this is on-the-job training for a major league team. Maybe it will not be a good team this year, but it will be a team that will develop.
That voice you hear on the KNBR warm-up show is Thomas Harding. You can follow him on X at Harding, Harding _ @AT_MLB. Covers Rockies for a long time, does a great inside job, and you'll love what he tweets out there. I got to bring up a couple people here first, and of course, Giants fans want to know about Thairo Estrada. Of course, he was injured, played with the Giants here for 4 years, had a couple of really good years in 2022 and 2023 where he hit 14 home runs. He hasn't had that many at bats yet. Is he healthy?
Yes, he is. And that was one of the reasons. Now, granted, as you know, Thairo Estrada is not going to make you a playoff team. But when you're looking at one of the worst starts ever, they had an idea of going into it with Thairo Estrada at second base and Ezequiel Tovar at shortstop. And you saw in spring training, there was a really good rapport between the two of them defensively. And Estrada, he's the type of guy that he puts the ball in play, doesn't walk, but when he's on, he gets you some hits and some extra base hits. Neither of those guys went in a lineup for much of the early part of the season, and that's part of explaining this terrible record that the team has. So Estrada is in there. He's playing every day, and you've seen some pretty good passes from him off the bat. I was in Miami for the series there, and he definitely looks like a guy that could have some success offensively and help this team out.
Yeah, I saw in one of the games he went 3 for 4, had a couple of real nice knocks in that game. What about his defense? He's been very good here when he was with the Giants. How do you like him on the defensive side at second base?
Well, when the Rockies, they not only lost Estrada and Tovar, but they had a couple of middle infielders also get hurt. Aaron Chunk was one of them. Tyler Freeman, who now is playing right field, he was another. So if you figure out your top 4 infielders in the middle get hurt, it really hurts your defense. This is a team that in the past has prided itself on defense. And going into the year with Estrada and Ryan McMahon at third base and Tovar, they thought they were going to be a very good defensive infield. That didn't happen. So him being back, it just makes the product, I mean, I hate saying this, but it makes the product more major league.
Mm-hmm. Well, you talked about young players playing. A 25-year-old catcher, Hunter Goodman, struggled his first 2 years in the big leagues. This year, really hitting the ball better at 280, 10 home runs, 36 RBIs. He's kind of the guy they're putting in the middle of the order. Tell me a little bit about what changes he made.
Well, first of all, he was coming up. He was a draft pick, 4th round out of the University of Memphis. And for most of his life, he had been a catcher, but he'd moved around the diamond just to get his bat into the lineup. And for the last couple of years, the Rockies have moved him all around to the outfield, to a little bit at first base just to get him into the major leagues, because he had a bunch of home runs. I think it was like 72 home runs in a very short minor league stint there. So they always thought the guy could hit. But what happened was last spring, they always invited him early to be with the catchers. And last spring, it was Mike Redmond and Bud Black. They looked and they said, hey, this guy's a pretty good catcher. Let's give him a shot at that position. And toward the end of last year, he did catch quite a bit for them. And this year, they just decided, you're going to be a full-time catcher and show what you could do at this level. And he's played well enough to where just today they released veteran Jacob Stallings. They called up another young catcher, Braxton Fulford, but it's part of the team going young. But Hunter Goodman has earned that job offensively and defensively.
Thomas Harding joining me in a few more minutes on the KNBR warm-up show. A couple of veteran players aren't really hitting the ball well. Brenton Doyle at 204 and Ryan McMahon at just over 200. What is going on with these two veterans? They really have not done anything in a positive mode with the bats.
Well, I will first with Ryan McMahon. He is definitely a veteran at 30 years old. Guy who was an all-star last year. I personally believe that April, which was horrible, April, he came out trying to carry the entire team on his back. I think he was over 300 in May. In fact, it was at the end of April, that series out there in San Francisco, where he performed pretty well. That was the beginning of him hitting okay. Now, he struggles on the road, as all Rockies do, but I do think he's turning the corner. With Brenton Doyle, and really with him, he's still a young player. I mean, at 26, 27 years old, I think he just turned 27. And Doyle he struggled offensively his first year, but won a Gold Glove. Last year, you saw definite offensive improvements, and he won a second Gold Glove. Coming out this year, he was pretty good for the first, 2-3 weeks of the season. Then two things happened. He had a quad injury, and he missed a few games, the better part of the week. Then he left on a bereavement list. And when he got back, it has taken him a long time to kind of get back. The last homestand, you saw him turning the corner. He did not have that good a road trip. I'm expecting him, though, to kind of start getting things together. And that's part of what I was talking about earlier with Nick Wilson from the minor league system, and also Jordan Pacheco. These are guys who remember him when he was really young. He had a decent last homestand, but part of that was the team had gone to Arizona. He was still struggling. They actually got with the people from the performance lab that the Rockies have at the site there, and they went over some things, and it looked like it unlocked him for a little bit. Let's see if he gets back on track being back here at home.
Thomas, how do you change some of these statistics when you look at team hitting and team pitching? Both of these are number 30 for the Rockies with a team earned run average about a 5.4, a team hitting 0.216. How can they change this? What are they doing to motivate these players to try to go game to game, inning to inning, and try to get more wins?
Well, I do think something you talked about going game to game and inning to inning. I go back to the start of the season where part of it is that they had backups and also guys they were seeing if they could play at this level, guys that actually came here and struggled and got sent back. Zach Veen, one of their big prospects, same type of thing. So there's a lot of on-the-job training here for the hitters. Now, as far as the pitchers are concerned, some of the veterans really came out of the gate struggling. I think that Antonio Senzatella and German Marquez struggled really badly in the beginning of the season. Marquez, the last 5 starts have been pretty good. Kyle Freeland has had his usual good runs, but then a bad inning here or there or some bad luck there. So the starting rotation has struggled, and not having Austin Gomber in it, that hurts them a bit. Gomber has not thrown a major league pitch this year. The bullpen has been pretty good. If you were to kind of dig through some of the bullpen stats, what has happened, they've built a number of young, strong-armed guys. It's the best part of this ball club right now. So but every now and then they're going to have a bad one because they have a bunch of rookie, second-year type players or players just past rookie where maybe you'll look at the numbers, they don't look that good. But if you look at the performances and the run of the performances, they've generally been decent. So the bullpen, it looks like it's the part of this team that is starting to actually develop. The rest of it, it's a major work in progress. I mean, you're talking about a team that has basically dedicated itself to on-the-job training for young players.
Thomas, as we finish up here, the July trade deadline will be coming up here. Is there any pieces in this Colorado Rocky big league roster that could be moved?
Well, if you look at Marquez, and like I say, the last 5 starts, he could definitely help a team's rotation. There has been some talk that teams would love to have Ryan McMahon. And if you look at Ryan McMahon, he's hitting in the middle of the lineup and kind of a big offensive piece here. If he were on a good team where he batted toward the bottom of the lineup and played his borderline Gold Glove defense, then he's the type of player that you can help get to the playoffs. One guy that I'm intrigued by is Jake Bird, who has a sub-2 ERA out of the bullpen. He's in his last year of arbitration. He could be a valuable trade chip. The other trade chip hasn't pitched yet. That is Austin Gomber. If Austin Gomber is able to come in, and he's in this last year of arbitration, that can make a difference. One other guy, who knows? They picked up Orlando Arcia, who had been released by the Atlanta Braves. He had some chances to go to some contending type teams under minor league contract, but he came here under major league contract. If he's able to get that hitting together, and he's hit better here than he hit with the Braves, then he may be picked up as a shortstop or a utility man. Definitely a shortstop if there's an emergency on a contending type team.
Thomas, I want to thank you for your time today. It's always a pleasure to speaking to you and do a great job with the Colorado Rockies.
Hey, thanks for having me.
That was Thomas Harding on the KNBR Warm-Up Show. More coming up right here on KNBR, the sports leader.
KNBR 104.5 and 680, the sports leader. A partnership born in 1979.
A 3-run homer for McCovey, and the Giants win in the bottom of the 13th inning.
We were there when the kids grew up.
27 years of waiting have come to an end. The Giants have won the pennant.
We were there when they moved into the best ballpark on earth.
That one is wet.
We were there for history.
Matt Cain is the first pitcher in the 128 years of the Giants franchise to pitch a perfect game.
We were there for a dynasty.
Swing and a miss, and that's it.
Cabrera takes strike 3 call.
They have won the World Series for the 3rd time in 5 years.
And we're excited to announce an additional 4-year commitment to carry our partnership through our 50th year together in 2028. We are your proud home of San Francisco Giants baseball. KNBR, the sports leader.
On the run, take a look at what Lenardi's has to offer. Lenardi's full-service deli offers a great selection of hot foods to go. Savory soups made fresh daily with quality ingredients, fried chicken, meatloaf, salads, sandwiches, and more. Check out Lenardi's weekly menu selection at www.lenardis.com or stop by one of Lenardi's markets, 8 convenient locations. Burlingame, San Bruno, Belmont, Los Gatos, 2 in San Jose, 1 on Bascom, 1 on Meridian, Walnut Creek, and Danville. Lenardi's, quite simply, the best.
Wag, play, bark. Wag Hotels offers fun-filled, supervised play for your pet in a safe and clean environment. Whether it's a day of doggy daycare or an overnight stay, Wag Hotels' welcoming and friendly staff is there 24/7, 365 days a year to care for your pet. Pamper your pet with the Wag Hotels spa and grooming services, training, one-on-one buddy time, and much more. Wag Hotels Wag Cam lets you check in on your pet anytime. Locations in Northern and Southern California. Visit waghotels.com for more information.
Coming to support the Orange and Black? Book your stay at the Hanlery Union Square Hotel in the heart of the city by the bay. Call 800-995-HUSH or go online at hanlery.com and enter Lasky in the promo code and get parking included. That's 800-995-HUSH. Book your stay at the Hanlery Union Square Hotel.
Handcrafted in the Bay Area of California, Birdman Bats offers some of the finest, highest quality wood baseball bats and gloves in the world. Stand out this season on or off the diamond with our infinite options of customization at birdmanbats.com. Turn your visions into reality with our online bat and glove builder, and check out all the other gear we offer as well. All available at birdmanbats.com. Birdman Bats. Chirp, chirp.
Once upon a time, there lived 3 energy hogs. Now, an energy hog is what you have when humans waste energy. One day, the 3 energy hogs set out to find themselves a cottage.
Let's look for leaky windows,
Said the first energy hog, for he knew that would waste energy.
Let's look for leaky doors.
Said the second.
Let's look for a swing set.
Said the third, for he had more blubber than brains. So they set off down the road. Presently, they came upon a tiny cottage where dwelled a clever girl named Dreadylocks.
I hope it has leaky windows.
Cried the first energy hog.
I hope it has leaky doors.
cried the second.
I opened at the bathroom,
cried the third, for only his brains were smaller than his bladder. But Dreadylocks liked playing cool games at energyhog.org, and from energyhog.org she learned how to use energy wisely. So the 3 energy hogs were forced to look elsewhere to waste energy, and had to use the disgusting restroom at the gas station down the road. And the moral of the story is, to use energy wisely, log on to energyhog.org, or waste not, hog not.
This public service message is brought to you by the U.S. Department of Energy and the Ad Council.
Giants fans, first pitch isn't too far away as KNBR's Giants warm-up continues on the sports leader.
All right, welcome back to the KNBR Giants warm-up show with Bill Lasky as we get ready for the third game of the Atlanta Braves series. The Giants have taken the first 2 and a 7-game homestand. They're 4-2, looking to win the series and sweep the Braves. About an hour ago, Shayna Rubin from the San Francisco Chronicle tweeted out there was a small grease fire at the Fuku restaurant in the concession stand, and that was inside the ballpark. Everybody had to be evacuated. The alarms went off. So Giants fans outside, if there's a big line, that's what's happened. So sooner or later you'll get in, but take your time. Everything's under control, and the ballpark is safe. All right, let's take a look at the starting lineups on both the Braves and the Giants as we get ready for the 1:05 first pitch with Spencer Strider, Atlanta Braves, against Landon Roop and the San Francisco Giants. Let's take a look at what the Braves... Leading off, Ronald Acuna Jr. He's playing right field, hitting .321, 4 home runs, 7 RBIs. Batting second, third baseman, power hitter Austin Riley. He's got 11 home runs, 35 RBIs on the season, hitting .275. Batting third, the left-hander, playing first base at .236, Matt Olson. 13 home runs, 34 RBIs. He had a home run on Friday. Marcell Ozuna is going to be hitting the fourth spot, cleanup spot. He's a designated hitter. 10 home runs, 28 RBIs, hitting .262. Batting fifth, the left-hander, boy, he hit one out the other day. Michael Harrison is second. He's playing center field. 4 home runs, 36 RBIs, .237. Earlier on the interview with C.J. Nitkowski, they're talking about Landon Roop's curveball. This is the guy that loves the ball down, and we'll have to take a look at how Landon Roop's going to face Michael Harris the second today. Batting sixth, Sean Murphy's behind the plate. He's catching 9 home runs, 21 RBIs, hitting .219. Batting seventh, Ozzie Albies. He's playing second base. 6 home runs, 24 RBIs, hitting .231. Eli White's going to play left field today. He's got 2 home runs, 13 RBIs, hitting .241. And the Gold Glove shortstop, I say the Gold Glove shortstop because he's got really good hands, Nick Allen. No home runs, 12 RBIs, .231. For the Braves, Acuna, Riley, Olson, Ozuna, Harris, Murphy, Albies, White, and Allen, with Spencer Strider on the hill. For the Giants, Landon Roop's on the hill for the Giants. Of course, the 26-year-old right-hander throwing the ball very well recently and consistently through the month of May. Had an under 2-point earned run average in 5 starts. He'll be on the hill at 105. The lineup behind him, playing center field, Daniel Johnson, the speedster, hitting .290 for the San Francisco Giants so far as he got called up in the middle of the week. Elliot Ramos is going to be in the second spot. He's playing left field, hitting .295, 11 home runs, 33 RBIs for Elliot Ramos. Possible all-star right there. Wilmer Flores hitting third. He's going to be the designated hitter once again. 11 home runs, 49 RBIs as he hit a solo home run yesterday, hitting .254 on the season. Of course, the star of the game yesterday was Matt Chapman hitting that go-ahead winnable home run, the walk-off home run in the bottom of the ninth with 2 outs with a 1-1 pitch. And he knocked a curveball out of the ballpark, sent the Giants fans going home happy. He's got 12 home runs, 30 RBIs, hitting .241 for the Giants. Dominic Smith hitting fifth, playing first base, 4 RBIs, hitting .333. Casey Smith playing shortstop today. Willie Adames getting the day off after 65 straight games. So we'll see what Casey Schmidt does at shortstop. No home runs, 3 RBIs, 191 batting average. Hitting 7, playing right field, Mike Yastrzemski, 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, hitting .230. Tyler Fitzgerald playing second base once again, 2 home runs, 7 RBIs, he's hitting .255. Andrew Krishner is catching today for the San Francisco Giants. Patrick Bailey getting the day off, and he's batting ninth. So you got Johnson, Ramos, Flores, Chapman, Smith, Schmidt, Yastrzemski, Fitzgerald, and Krishner. And like I said, Landon Roop on the hill. Hey, let's take a look at the scoreboard. A lot of games have been going on so far, and we'll see what's going on. The Padres now in Milwaukee are winning 1-0. That's in the middle of this thing. Both teams only had one hit going through 6 innings. Now the Padres have pulled away 1-0. That's going into the bottom of the 7th inning. The Rangers and the Nationals are warming up. That's going to start soon. The Phillies and the Pirates, that's after 5 innings. The Phillies and the Pirates are tied 1-1 in Pittsburgh. Coming up next, the D-backs and the Reds. That is in the top of the 6th inning. A lot of rain in Cincinnati. That game's been delayed. It's 2-2 starting in the 6th inning, and the Tarps are on in Cincinnati. The Tigers and the Cubs playing in Detroit. That's in the bottom of the 5th inning. Detroit is winning that game 2-0. Cleveland Guardians are playing the Astros in Cleveland. That's 2-0 in the top of the 6th inning. The Twins and the Blue Jays 2-1 in the top of the 3rd. Royals and the White Sox 2-2 in the top of the 4th. The Dodgers are winning in the bottom of the 3rd inning in St. Louis. St. Louis beat them the first 2 games 3-0. Mets and the Rockies warming up. Orioles and Athletics starting at 1:05. Mariners and Angels. Red Sox and the Yankees. The only game that did finish was the Miami Marlins and the Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa. Tampa won that game 3-2. I want to thank my guests today on the warm-up show, Alex Pavlovich, CJ Nick, Mark Abba, and Thomas Arhardy. I'll be on the post-game show today, Extra Innings. Coming up next, the Giants pregame show right here on KNBR, Esports Net.
When the game is over, hear the post-game wrap with John, Dave, Kruk, and Kite on KNBR and KNBR FM, San Francisco.
It's Sunday here in San Francisco. Big crowd is filing in. It's the Giants and the Braves for the final game of the series and the homestand. Giants trying to make it 3 in a row against Atlanta. They give the ball to the right-hander Landon Roop. Spencer Strider goes for Atlanta after Matt Chapman's walk-off win yesterday. What will happen today? We've got a full pregame show to come. It's the Giants and the Braves baseball on the radio.
Hey, everybody, it is June 8th in Giants history, and every now and then, this Dayton Giants history producer Danny Dunn throws the old heads a bone like this one, June 8, 1982, Jack Clark. Everybody who remembers Jack Clark has a smile on their face right now. Because on June 8th, 1982, the Giants gave the ball to Atlee Hammaker, very good lefty. They were taking on, well, a pretty good righty named Nolan Ryan in the Houston Astros at Candlestick Park. And the Giants actually jumped Nolan Ryan. They scored 2 in the bottom of the first. Reggie Smith, he didn't fear anybody. And Jack Clark, he didn't fear anybody either. They both had RBI singles. And then in the third inning, the excellent Chili Davis knocks in Jim Wolford. Giants lead 3-0. Now it's the sixth inning, a little tighter game, 3-2. And with none on and one out, here he is again, number 22. Now, we know we've retired 22 for Will Clark. But man, oh man, 22 Jack Clark, he was pretty good too.
Clark is singled and grounded to third. Ryan throws. There's a swing and a high drive deep center field. Scott goes back to the fence. He looks. It's gone. Home run. Jack Clark.
Hank Greenwald with the call. When you take Nolan Ryan to straightaway center field at Candlestick Park, you are a strong and talented man. That's Jack the Ripper doing that. Giants would go on to pick up a few more runs. An RBI single from Chili Davis made it 5-3, knocking Nolan Ryan out of the game.